Hello! It is time for another episode of Top 5. It is good to be back. We had to push this one back a week to accommodate one of our guests who really wanted to be on this panel. So we're like, yeah, sure, no worries. And it worked out well because I was able to go on someone else's channel last week at this time and play my favorite game ever. And that's playing Mass Effect 3 with the Melee crew. So it all worked out well. But we are back for another episode of Top 5. How are you doing tonight, Jason?
Doing good. Little busy today, but yeah, excited to be sitting here talking about some movies on the video game front too. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So tonight we are ranking our top 5 favorite video game movies, and that's not necessarily video game adaptations. It's games that are video game centric in their entirety. So games like the example I used when we were messaging out was like things like The Wizard. I don't know if that's going to be on anybody's list tonight. It's not on mine. But that's a good example of like, it's not an adaptation, but it's very video game centric. So it would qualify for tonight's list. So we're going to be ranking our favorite top 5 favorite video game movies. And we got a returning member who made his debut on this channel on our top 5 summer blockbusters. That is Nerd Takes. Hello, Nerd Takes. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, always good having you on and chatting with you. So glad.
Likewise, I appreciate it.
Yeah, glad you're able to make it because I know how much you wanted to be on this panel.
Yes. This is a fun topic. These movies, as we were talking about backstage, I think a lot of video game movies are rarely of even decent quality. Sometimes they're pretty poor, but they're fun for their own reasons. You know, we spend a lot of time playing these characters and hours in these games, so it's really cool to see them come to live action, even if it's not always in the best way. But as long as it's not like total trash, we can find something good to take out of it.
Yeah, and that's why we're ranking our top 5 favorites and not the top 5 best, because
exactly.
those are 2 drastically different lists.
Exactly.
So, and making his top 5 debut, my co-host on Party Chat on my other Tuesday stream is Ryan. Good evening, Ryan.
Well, hello there. No, yeah. If we're talking about The Wizard, then I'm out. No, I kid. Yeah, no. It's there are a lot of video game movie adaptations, and quite frankly, some are very, very good, and others are the majority are so poor. It's like you want to rake your face over coals. So I'm here for
it. Uwe Boll movies, anybody?
Yeah. He's done some work, huh?
It's crazy how many he's done in a row. Like I think 1 year I was looking at, he did like 3 movies in 1 year.
Didn't realize it till I was looking at the list of all of them of all time. Like, damn, he really just committed to the bit there. It just never really turned out very well.
Yeah, I don't know that I've actually seen any of his movies. I'd have to actually go look at his list, but I know his reputation for sure.
Right.
So, and we got Kay in the chat saying, "This wizard hatred shall not stand." What's up, Kay?
I like The Wizard, Kay.
Hey, Kay.
I enjoyed it. I'm not going to say it's a good movie, but I did enjoy it the one time that I watched it. I know it's very infamous for the Power Glove and gave it a lot of its popularity.
Yeah, a little bit of marketing done there. I honestly can't really remember it. I watched it as a kid, and it's been a long time since, so I, for the life of me, couldn't tell you anything about it. I just know Fred Savage was in it because I remember that was when he was in the Wonder Years and all that. So it's a big time for him.
So, well, all right. Shoot, you know what? I came up with a question that I talked to you guys about at the end, but I forgot to think of something at the beginning. So, but I guess we'll just go ahead and get right on into our top 5 tonight. So, yeah, we're ranking our top 5 favorite video game movies. So starting off with our number 5s, I think Jason, it is customary that you kick us off.
Usually, yeah. So yeah, number 5 was the hardest one for me to come up with, just because I was thinking about movies that I've watched so many times, and that's pretty much where my top 5 kind of went down. Is like these 5 movies. As I was talking to Neo, is I've probably seen combined these movies probably over 60 times. So that's how I kind of went with my list. Is these movies I will gladly sit down and watch right now if they were on, they were on pretty much. So my number 5 was the start of my franchises that I absolutely love, but they didn't do very well. But my number 5 is going to be Resident Evil, the first one.
I knew that'd be on your list somewhere.
Yeah, it almost wasn't, but I couldn't get away from it. They did so many bad things to the characters, but then they also kind of did some stuff later down the line. Those movies I would never touch. And then the what was it? The Welcome to Raccoon City. If anybody ever loves that movie and is a Resident Evil fan, then you're not a Resident Evil fan because I absolutely can't stand that movie.
Which,
Yeah,
which one is that?
that's the one where they
Netflix
actually
ones?
brought all the characters. That was one of the new ones. They actually had Leon. They had everyone.
It's the second one, right?
No, that was they kind of tried to do a reboot. That one came out.
Okay, yeah, no.
We're not talking about the
no.
Netflix one though, right? Because that was a show.
No. There was they tried to do a reboot.
I think I know this even existed.
Was it with Robbie Amell, the guy who used to be in those CW shows? I'm pretty sure I know the one you're talking about.
Might have been.
I feel like recently in the last few years there was like quite a few that came out as some sort of reboot or total redo, kind of frequently. Because I want to say there was another.
Yes,
one that was
you are right,
Nerd
Takes. Robbie Amell is in it.
Okay.
He's Chris Redford.
Yep. I remember him being in it. I didn't watch it. I just remember like kind of bits and pieces.
Okay, I'm starting to remember this now because the guy they have as Leon, he looks like he's like Indian or like Middle Eastern or something.
Yeah,
there's that scene when he's like in a police station and a car comes through on fire or something, like, and it's just bizarre. The whole thing is it. I remember it getting shredded by YouTubers.
I forgot this even existed.
It's the worst. Yeah, he falls asleep and a car comes through the thing because he's wearing a Sony headphones.
Yes, like
he can't hear it.
Headphones.
Anyway, and then another thing too is my thing is if Neil McDonough is your antagonist in the movie, it's probably going to be bad. No offense to you, Neil McDonough, because you've done a lot of stuff.
I like him a lot, but
he gets to short in
movies a lot of the time.
And but anyway, back to the sort of better one. But some of the cool things that they added into games that I guess 6 wasn't the best, but like the laser room was always fun. Seeing them try to bring a liquor to CG in very bad CG and making that a final boss was interesting. Them making a new character that doesn't go anywhere, in my opinion, was something. But yeah, there's a lot of things that they tried, and like Paul Anderson does, he tried.
I have seen of the I guess what we'd call the main series of movies. I guess the Mila Jovovich ones.
Yeah,
I've seen all but the last one. I never ended up seeing the last one.
Yeah,
they're definitely not good movies, but they are fun. I did enjoy watching them.
Yeah, the first one was a lot of fun, and then everything else just kind of just I don't know. They forgot what they wanted to do.
Yeah, if you ask me if you said like explained a scene from one of them and asked me which movie it was from, I'd be like, I have no idea.
Yeah. You do that many. It's like Fast and the Furious. They all kind of just blend in with one another.
Yeah, I was the same way with Fast and Furious for a while, but I watched them through because 4, 5, and 6, like I couldn't have been able to tell you which one was which, but I've watched those ones a few more times now, and if you ask me like what happened to which one, I could tell you. But Resident Evil, I think the last time I watched them was the reason why I didn't watch the last one is because I don't think it had come out yet, and we did a marathon. We watched all of the ones leading up to that one, but I never ended up seeing the newest one. But
yeah, you didn't miss much. you just I wish I can give any of the the latter ones any praise. I can't just because after the first I was like, okay, cool, and then what they did to Nemesis in the second one, I was like, all right, I'm done. And then they kind of try to figure out what to do after that, and it just never became anything. So
they're floundering.
Yeah, the Red Queen, you're all gonna die down here. That's the infamous quote from the movie. I still kind of say that every once in a while in my terrible British accent that I can never do, but but yeah, there's some like fun little things on this one. They did the zombies well. I thought that was kind of interesting. So there's some cool things that they did from it. It's a fun watch, but it's a fun watch.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yep. Given how much I know you love Resident Evil, I figured it had to be on your list somewhere, even if they're typically not great. But
yeah,
like we said earlier, your favorites, not necessarily the best.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, Ryan, since this is your first time on Top 5, why don't we go to you for your number 5?
Well, I'm gonna have to go with the same one, Resident Evil.
Ah, nice.
Not it's not because I necessarily agree with him. I was not a massive Evil fan. I played Resident Evil 2. That was a massive hit, for the
Mhm.
PlayStation. My friend and I, we played that. The iconic scene where you open up the car crash, the police cruisers, stuff like that. You're cornered by like three zombies. The thing for me is that I think that Paul Anderson did a good job on certain aspects of this movie. And so was it true to the games as much? Kinda. That's why I said kinda. But it was a fun movie. Not just for people who love the games, but for normies who had no idea what the games
Mhm.
were about. And yes, the Red Queen, say you're all gonna die down here. Like
You're
that
gonna
was,
die down, yeah.
yeah, that was something that was so like whoa. And somebody who understood the games but wasn't a huge fan of the games. And my dad took me to see that. I mean, you're talking about when the movie come out, like what, 2001, right? Somewhere in
The
there.
original one? That sounds about right.
6?
Let me see here.
The original
No,
Resident
No,
Evil is
no, it's
2002.
2002.
2002,
March
yeah, yeah.
15th.
2002. I was a minor. I couldn't vote. So my dad and I went and watched that movie, and it was a lot of fun. It was a great memory. Was it an incredible? No. Was Mila looking
Mila
pretty
Jovovich.
hot? And
Wearing nothing in the bathtub.
yeah, no, it was but no, long story short,
I totally forgot that Michelle Rodriguez was even in it.
she was,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, that's what he said. It's like Fast and Furious. I was like, yeah, there's that makes
Yeah.
that's two
A
things.
little overlap there.
Yeah, she was in that was her next major role after the Fast and the Furious.
Hmm.
And she was just basically Letty in the movie.
Does she ever play any other character
Yeah,
in the movies that she's
sounds
in?
kind of just like every
No.
Michelle Rodriguez role.
But
When you-
no, it was a fun movie. And so
Mhm.
is it incredible? No. I'd give it a probably 6.5, maybe 7 out of fun factor.
Yeah.
Maybe even higher because quite frankly, it's nostalgic and it's just fun. So yeah, I'll go with Resident Evil.
Okay. Just yes or no, Jay, is your number 5 Resident Evil?
No,
Make it go.
no, it is not.
All right. I think I'll go ahead and go next, and then Jay can finish off our number 5. So, for me, I was talking about this with Jason backstage. It's like almost all of these, my top 5s and my honorable mentions, with the exception of I think 2 of them, I've only seen one each, and almost all of them I haven't seen in a long time. So, my perception of these may be a bit skewed, but so my number 5, I don't think anyone's going to disagree with this one, but my number 5 was a absolutely fantastic redemption of one of the biggest franchises, if not the most well-known video game franchise in history, that was done dirty in 93. They made a fantastic return to form, and that was the Mario Brothers movie from a year or two ago.
Mhm.
That might be a shining example of how to do a video game movie right. And I think it's probably, I didn't look at the numbers, but I think it's the most profitable video game movie of all time. I think it made over $1 billion. I don't think any
I'm
other
pretty
video
sure
game
it
movie has
cracked
come
Yes.
$1 billion.
close.
It is, yeah.
So it actually did really well too. So it's kind of like set the bar of like, this is what a video game movie should be. And go ahead.
No, I love that movie. And
Yep,
I love
yep.
the original 93 movie too. But live action Mario is really hard to grasp. So no, the animated version was incredible. So I actually, Neo, I agree with you.
Yeah. So I never saw the original in '93 because I just know its reputation is so bad.
It's rough. It's rough.
You
I
should
have
still
a
watch it.
ton of nostalgia for it, to be honest with you. That reminds me of like back in the day, me and my brother sitting down on the floor set TVs and all that, watching that. You know, you look
Somebody-
back on it now and it's like, damn, this is a hard, like you said, it's a hard thing to pull off in live action. I mean, it's a tough concept to get along, and they really deter from kind of the Mario we know in that one, but
Yeah,
it is still fun, and it is still, you know, it's that nostalgia.
Also, at the same time, somebody kick him. Somebody kick him now.
let me just kick myself.
He did it. Look at him growing.
No, I've seen clips of it, so I know it more than just by reputation. I've seen clips of it, but I've never actually taken the time to sit down and watch it in its entirety. But yeah, from everything that I've seen from it, I'm like, I understand why it is so such a reprehensible example of the Mario franchise.
Polarizing.
Yeah, it's
Polarizing, definitely. I know.
It's not the
got
Mushroom Kingdom.
It got its weird
Yeah.
fans, but
That's
the recent one was very good, and it would probably be higher. But Mario, I no secret that like I think Mario is overrated. Not that he's bad, just I've never really been a huge Mario fan. So for that, it's just not higher on my list.
Neo, our viewers are dropping.
But Kay's supporting me though. She says the Mario movie is amazing, maybe one of the best video game movies of all time.
No,
Thank you.
I agree. You
We'll
talk about this
Mario
again
is
on my list.
overrated. So
If we were ranking best video game movies, this would probably be number one. But as for my favorite, it's farther down there on the list. So, and then hey, Christian's here as well, saying he liked the animated Mario movie and the '95 Mortal Kombat, which I have a strong feeling that'll show up somewhere on someone's list later.
I had a feeling the Mortal Kombat would show up as well. I was pretty sure of it.
So, but yeah, the new Mario Brothers movie was great. And I know one of the biggest things a lot of people had worries about going into it was Chris Pratt being the voice of Mario. I thought he did pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I think there was a good point raised about the idea that the Mario voice, if he's doing the Charles Martinet Mario voice for a full movie, it's gonna wear on people pretty quickly, because you got to understand, when we play Mario, he's not talking all game. It's little jump sounds. It's little things here and there.
Yeah.
To listen to that for 3 hours, or not 3 hours, but 2.5 hours, however long the movie was, that would get a little old. So I thought the voice was good. It's still, if you listened to it long enough and thought about it, you could be like, oh yeah, that is Chris Pratt. But if you let yourself just enjoy the movie, you don't. It doesn't sound like exactly like him. He did enough to make it sound.
Yeah, there was only one voice in that movie that did a bad job. There was just only one voice.
I know exactly what you're gonna say, and that's what I was gonna say as well.
Yeah, I have a feeling I know too.
Which one is it?
Seth Rogen's Donkey Kong.
Yep.
Like that right there was the only. If I could find any blemish in the movie, that's it right there. Like that made zero sense. And but everything else was great.
I mean, you want to talk about being worried? It would be just his voice. That was the one to worry about, because it is literally just his voice.
Yeah, because Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong. Chris Pratt actually did a great job. Because you actually heard, kind of the transition between the two. He's like going, "It's me, Mario. Let's go." And then you had like the normal talking. It's not. But you also had the nostalgic too. The Mario Brothers television. It's the Mario Brothers. It was a great combination. It was probably the best combination of a video game movie I've actually ever seen.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I really enjoyed that one. It'll be showing up on my list as well, so we'll get another chance to gush over it.
We'll talk about it more. Trust me.
But it was really good. And the other thing too, not to keep talking about it, but just in terms of Chris Pratt, you got to keep in mind too, he had already done voice work for a major movie like this with the Lego Movie, so he was the concern for him coming in. I didn't really understand. It was the Seth Rogen one that I feel like got overlooked entirely in terms of concern, and he just did a poor job in voice acting.
Yeah, I thought,
but like you said, only blemish. That's about it.
Yeah, I thought Charlie Day as Luigi was great.
I
actually wish he had more.
Yeah,
He was
Yep, I thought
not
that
in the
worked.
movie enough. Keegan Michael Key as Toad, I thought was great.
Yeah, I thought that was solid. Peach, Anya Taylor-Joy, thought was
Anya
also good.
Taylor-Joy
You
was
know,
Peach. I thought she did pretty good.
I
But I
have no
thought Jack
complaints on
Black from
voice
Bowser
acting.
was great. I like
Mhm.
Jack
Yeah.
Black as Bowser.
Mhm.
I thought he did a great job on that.
No, 100%.
So, yeah, that's my number 5. So, Jay, what is your number 5?
All right, so my number 5, I feel confident in saying I don't think it'll end up on many lists here because it's not a great movie, but I really loved the game Hitman Blood Money back in 2006. I played that game over and over again. I just absolutely adored it. It was my introduction to the Hitman franchise. So about a year later, the first Hitman movie came out with
First one.
Timothy Oliphant.
Timothy Olyphant.
I always mispronounce it.
I was
And,
hoping that's the one
That's
you were
so
going to say
weird.
because
Yep.
I watched that one and then watched the I think it was Zachary Quinto one that was like
I've
years
Agent
later.
47 they called it.
Agent
I watched
47.
parts of that one, but I never
It
finished
was
it. So I because I wasn't enjoying it, and then I
it
kept
was not
hearing
good.
yeah, that was kind of the hurt what I heard about the rest of it. So I never went back to finish it. But the one from '07, the Timothy Oliphant one, honestly, it's not bad. It's not
I
a great
liked it.
movie, and Dougray Scott's in it. He's good in it.
Olga
It's
Kurylenko is
it's
not
not a
bad to look at.
yep, yeah, hey, fair enough there. But no, it's just it's a turn your brain off, enjoy an action movie, see a character that I've played hours and hours of as Agent 47 and all these different ways you're going through, creating the ways you want to beat the game and clear the levels and all that. So to see him come to life on the big screen, I thought it was a good interpretation of him, at least of the character. There's some really good. I actually just rewatched this. This was the one I was saying earlier before we started the show that I had just rewatched because making this list brought it back to my mind. I'm like, it's been a while. Let me give it another viewing. And I loved it again. They did so many cool little things with the cinematography to almost make it feel like it was the perspective of when you play behind them as a video game. Cool little nods of like the crates that you hide all the evidence in and all that as you're playing. So they had good nods to the game. The look of the character was great in terms of the classic black suit, red tie. The whole thing is just a fun ride. It's an action movie. It's an early 2000s or kind of mid early 2000s action movie where you turn your brain off, you enjoy it, and have a good
2007.
ride. So that was the one I was on the teeter. I was teetering on that one if it would make 5 or not. And once I rewatched it, I was like, "Yep, I'm gonna put it in there."
Nice. Yeah, the first one was 2007, and the Hitman
Oh,
Agent
right.
47, the one that I was like, it was bad in the bad kind of way, not bad in the good kind of way.
Right.
That was 2015, so I would not recommend that one. But I would love to go back and watch Hitman with Timothy Olyphant again. I remember very little about it, but I do remember I enjoyed it.
It's not only good in terms of being just the nostalgic for the game itself or the franchise, because I kind of tie it to my experience with Hitman Blood Money that came out a year prior, but even just the franchise itself. But it's just kind of a nostalgic trip back to like that style of early 2000s action movies where we don't really get them like that anymore. And it's not the most complex story. It's action. It's fast paced. It's a thrill ride, which you can't go wrong there.
Yeah, I like Timothy Olyphant too as an actor too.
Yeah, that too. I'm a big fan of his. I love Deadwood. Deadwood was a great show.
Yeah.
That was good.
Justified, I've heard was really
that's
good, but
great.
I actually had not watched it. But I've always wanted to check back on that one because Walter, is his name Walter Goggins?
Walton
Goggins. Yeah, I believe he's in that
Yeah.
as well, and he's a fantastic actor. So
I know I would love this franchise. I never actually played any of the Hitman games. Well, actually,
they're fun.
that's not true. I've never played any of the proper Hitman games. The only Hitman
Mhm.
game I played was Hitman Go, and it was a puzzle game.
Yeah.
But I know I would love the Hitman games because I
Mhm.
love stealth games.
Well,
Like
that I was just going to say, if
I
you're
just
into
never-
stealth games, yep, you would definitely like them. It'd probably be a good one to see, to be a completionist on too, because there's so many ways to clear levels and do these, contracts and see them out. Because that's what's so fun. They just give you so many environmental weapons, all these different ways to get you from point A to point B, and just a really fun game franchise and a solid, movie adaptations. And like I said, not great, but good enough.
Yeah, I know I would have loved the franchise. I ever just gotten around to it. I just never did. And because like I love Splinter Cell, and like similarly, there's a
Mhm.
lot of different ways to approach your objectives in the Splinter Cell games. So the way I would
Right.
play is like I'd play through a room and I'd beat a room one way, and then I'd reload my save and do the room a different way. And then I would do that room like every possible way. So by the time I get to the end of one level, I've essentially beaten it like 5 or 6
Yeah,
times.
in every
So I just
every way
love
that you
doing like
can.
every possible
Fair
option
enough.
there was. So I
Mhm.
know I would have loved the Hitman games. I
Oh,
just
yeah.
never got around to it. So but yeah, Hitman, good pick. So yeah, and Kay is saying, yeah, Hitman games are so
Yep.
fun. I know I would have liked
Yeah,
them.
they were a good time.
So, and yeah, she says she got to watch it. I would recommend it. It was fun.
Yeah, the first one. The second one, not
I
great.
pass.
Yeah, you can skip Agent. I think it's actually called Agent 47. You can skip that one.
Yeah.
It is. So, all right. You guys have anything? Have you guys seen this movie, Ryan or Jason?
I've seen little bits of it. The thing that always sticks out to me is, like said, the bald cap that Timothy Olyphant has to wear, and like it's just so weird seeing him just in that cap because every movie that he usually has, he has all that all the hair, and you just see him bald. You're like, holy crap! It's just like a shocking kind of thing after that.
Mhm.
Was he actually wearing a bald cap and he didn't
I-
actually shave his head for that?
If they did, congratulations to him. I thought he had a cap on.
Okay. I don't know, but yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that again sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. All right. I think I'll go ahead and kick off our number 4s. You know what? Let's see here, 27 minutes. And that is because I wanted to follow up my number 5 with the I don't know if you could say the antithesis, but like the main competitor of Mario back in the day. I always thought this was a much cooler character. I never had Sega, so I never really got to play these games, but I always liked him as a character more, and that was Sonic. I couldn't tell you which of the Sonic movies I liked more, so I kind of just grouped them together, the Sonic 1 and 2 movies. And the third one's coming out, I think, before the end of the year or maybe early next year. I know it's soon. But for my number 4, I grouped together the 2 Sonic movies we've gotten so far. They were a lot of fun. I thought they did a great job. And shout out to them actually listening to the fans and fixing ugly Sonic. That was great.
Ton of respect for that.
It's funny that the Chip and Dale like Rescue Rangers movie that came out a couple years ago, they actually had ugly Sonic in that movie as a character.
Well played.
Mhm.
Well played.
That
by
was
them.
funny. But yeah, the Sonic movies were great. I think Jim Carrey did a great job as Robotnik.
Yes.
It was just a lot of fun. Arguably right behind Mario Brothers on best movie adaptation or video game adaptation in a movie form. I think they're decent movies. I don't think you can say that they're bad. They're a lot of fun. The dynamic between I forget his James Marsden. I always want to call him Cyclops, and Sonic was great. And yeah, I just think they just did a great job. They're fun. Not. I guess one of the main issues that a lot of people had with the second one was like there was too much focus on like the wedding.
Yeah,
They should have focused more on the other
too
characters.
much of the people story. The people don't matter when it's a Sonic movie. It's like, yeah, I just want to see Sonic and at that point too, when you're introducing Tails and Knuckles, it just felt like the whole James Marsden and his wife's story just felt like it was pulling away from what we really wanted to see in that. Whereas in the first movie, it did seem like they kind of blend the humans into the story better. Just felt a little off.
I would actually agree with that. Yeah. Definitely.
And not to jump the line on anybody who's going to go next, but my number 4 is actually also Sonic. So I don't know if
nice.
you wanna just talk a little bit, because I would also say that I agree 100% in the idea that the fact that they took the criticism from the fans and changed Sonic's design speaks volumes about not only just the care they wanted to put into it, but the general integrity of the people who are in charge of making that movie. Because so often we just hear like, oh, that essentially that our opinions don't really matter as fans, and they're going to give us what they give us, and we're either going to like it or not, or they're going to, you're going to take it and you're going to like it type of thing. And to see them actually take criticism from fans and apply it was something you just don't really see enough these days. And I really appreciated that.
I'm still not entirely convinced that it wasn't all a ploy from the beginning. Let's give him ugly Sonic with
It'd be
good
a crazy
Sonic in the
marketing
back,
move.
and we can just swap them out, and people will praise us and think that we're listening to them, so we'll make lots of money.
I don't think that was the thing, dude.
Yeah, that's a lot of
That's why I
animation
said
right
I'm
there.
not entirely convinced. I don't
Well-
think if you had like gun to my head, I would say that's not it, but I'm not entirely convinced that they didn't have that plan all along.
Well, it's to me, I feel like it was the time of such like these live action adaptations going for too much realism. Like you look
Yeah.
at The Lion King, for example, like there was too much realism in the way they did that. And you've seen some people use Photoshop to edit. I remember specifically at the time, you know, they'd have pictures of Simba in the movie and they'd Photoshop a different live action version just to make it cartoon enough, like it was,
Yeah.
or animated enough, like it was in
Have
the movie with the big
expressions.
eyes and like it had the actual features of the Simba we all know and love and recognize. And you know, that was a criticism for those movies and all those live action Disney movies they were doing at the time of taking kind of these old things. I
Well-
mean, look at The Little Mermaid, the way everybody looked at Flounder and Sebastian, and like they just look like real crabs and fish. It's too much realism. Like that should have been Flounder and Sebastian. I mean, I'm not the biggest Little Mermaid fan out there, but I recognize those
We're not
characters
really the
because
target
their image is iconic. I did not
Well,
recognize them
the-
in those trailers.
The biggest example is actually Cinderella. It was the original Disney live action.
Are you talking about the
And-
Cinderella from like 2015?
Yes,
Yeah,
that was the
I've
original.
heard that was a real a good adaptation of
It was
live
yes.
action. I just
And then
haven't
Disney
seen it.
took it and they decided to like
Right, we're gonna just
vomit everywhere.
do it out. Yeah, exactly. Apply it to just everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that style of doing that animation to me is a mistake because it loses the essential core of what the characters look like, which is what all of our nostalgia is tied to. It's not tied to the look of just like a lion or a fish. It's
Yep.
tied to that iconic image of those characters. So to see, you know, those guys, I don't know, is it Paramount? I want to say who might have made the Sonic movies. I'm not entirely sure, but whoever.
It's Paramount.
pretty
But the
sure it is
director,
Paramount.
the director, everybody involved, the studio to even put money back in to digitally, you know, change all that because I believe there was a big delay that came after too. So putting extra money into it to make sure they got it right. Showed a commitment to fans and the IP that we don't really see enough of these days, and it worked for the better. That movie was a huge success. The second one, even though I think consensus is that people didn't like it as much, still did very well because people had so much love for the first one, but goodwill for the people making it. And this third one looks like it's on track to do just as well. So we'll see. But
The second one was also a massive success.
oh
And,
yeah, that's what I mean. Even though the consensus was that
so-
you know it wasn't the best, people it still did well because I feel like there's just so much love, obviously, for the character, but a lot of goodwill for the people making it too, because that was a big thing that I think stuck with the fan base. And I'm assuming this third one's going to be just as successful. I mean, you got Shadow, you got Keanu Reeves voicing them.
I think it's going to
gonna
be
huge.
bigger.
Yeah,
Bigger.
I
I
wouldn't
would not bet
surprise me.
against that.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
Bigger.
one of the things that I think Idris Elba as Knuckles was great.
Yes, I even like the Knuckles show. You know, it's a silly show.
I've heard
but
that the show is good. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I did a review on it a while back. I didn't even plan to. I was kind of just like, maybe I'm going to watch this, maybe I won't. But then I was like, you know what? Screw it. I enjoyed the movies. Why not? And just Idris Elba is so funny as Knuckles. The way he plays it is it's almost like deadpan humor, where like he's just such a fish out of water in terms of earthly human customs and all that. And he's pretty comical in it. He's more funny than the intended comedic relief in the show, to be honest with you. But it was again, it's like the movies. It's a fun ride. Is it a great show? No, but it's a fun little watch. Short one too, I think, if I recall.
Yeah. And then some comments from the chat. Daxonar is here. What's up, Daxonar? Good to see you. He says Jim Carrey as Eggman feels like they were pandering specifically to me. That's great. And Christian's coming in with some interesting facts, saying that the original voice actors for Tails is also the voice actors for Tails in the movie, which is cool. I did not know that. So, and yeah, saying that the wedding subplot was the most hilariously stupid thing. I hate that. I love it.
Yeah. Even the way they tried to tie it all into was like, what the hell was that?
Shadow hype is real.
But it was still, you know,
Oh.
Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. So I still enjoyed it.
Saying Keanu Reeves did a lot of research for Shadow, which I don't doubt. He puts
I did
everything
know that,
into his
yeah.
roles. So that's one of the reasons why everybody loves him.
Yeah, Keanu does so much for his stuff.
great casting because, like you said, everybody loves him. There's just like already so much goodwill that goes towards these movies that they're bound to succeed.
But all right, well, excellent. Okay. I think since that kind of knocks out Jay and I's number 4, let's go to Ryan for his number 4, and then Jason can finish us off for number 4s.
My number 4 is, and this is a guilty pleasure, so I don't expect anybody to actually like this. It is Silent Hill.
Mhm.
I am a huge. I hate horror movies. Yeah, I know.
Same. I'm not huge on them.
You guys are going,
Me
"Wait,
neither."
what? I hate horror movies, but Silent Hill, for some reason,
Mhm.
captured me as a teenage kid. So the movie came out. I thought it was a lot of fun. Was it great? No.
I have no idea. I've never seen it.
Oh God!
I'm assuming
What?
it's bad.
Ugh.
Is it a UA Bowl?
No,
You know
no, this
what?
is not.
No.
Is this the one
So-
from 2006?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
Okay.
yeah.
I remember
Oh,
it, but I never saw
John Bean is in it. Did he die?
it. Yep, he's in it.
He's in it, but no, we're not going to tell you shit, dude. Watch the movie.
Let's see.
So-
Who's the director? Christoph Gans. Never heard of him.
So anyway, long story short, this was a great movie. It was a great adaptation about how Silent Hill was literally based off a real world town in America called Centralia, Pennsylvania. And it was just a lot of fun. It really was. There was some really kind of horrific things, but yeah, it was. I'm not going to say more than that. If you have not seen the movie, Neo, watch the fucking movie.
I actually haven't either. This one slipped by me. I remember it, and I remember it vividly
Come
when it was
on,
out.
nerd.
But yeah,
I
this
know
one slipped
almost
by me
nothing
too.
about this franchise in its entirety, so there wouldn't be any
You-
reason why I would watch it.
You don't need to know anything about it to watch the movie.
Okay.
That's the thing about Silent Hill is
I'll have to put it on
Silent
the
Hill's kind of like
short
an
list
at
to
the
watch
end.
soon.
Yeah, it's a fun watch. Silent Hill is one of those things that like they're more like anthology stories. There's very rarely where the sequels kind of go after each other. There's a couple games that do it, but they're just kind of like the main
Individual
setting.
stories.
Yeah, the main setting is the important part, and then you learn more about that, and then it makes sense for each story that happens to do with whatever's going on.
Yeah, but also at the same time, though, there's actual historical,
Mhm.
Well, that's what's
intrinsic
like.
value to it.
Mhm.
So that's why you need to actually watch the movie and learn about the
Mhm.
quote town, because it's a real place mapped out for the games.
Interesting. See, that makes me really want to check it out now. That's very interesting. I had no idea that it was based on anything real.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah,
Very interesting.
Neo's typing so fast.
Just making some notes. So, okay. I'm assuming you like the game better than the movie.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
I know you're a big fan because we talked about that a few times
Now-
on Party Chat lately.
Now, I have not played the remake of Silent Hill
just-
2.
That just came out.
I don't have the. I've seen things that I don't like because the original Silent Hill 2 game was okay. So if the remake is like this dark,
Mhm.
the original was like this dark, which means it was literally terrifying to watch. And
And you're talking about like physical light levels, not like dark, like moodiness, right?
yeah, physical
Yeah,
light.
like actual game. Yeah, like the.
Yeah, it's too
Mhm.
bright. The game is too
Right.
bright, from what I hear.
There is barely any light in the whole entire game. Like, if it's daytime, you're safe. But the majority of the game, as you progress, gets dark and dark and darker and darker, and it's only dark. So, like, it's like you start out kind of like walking around, you're like going, oh, I'm exploring Silent Hill, this weird town that's enveloped in fog. And by the end of the game, you can't go anywhere to find sunlight because that's the hope, and the darkness is what envelops you as you venture further into Silent Hill.
Mhm.
So no, the remake kind of sucks a lot of ass. I'm gonna be honest.
Did
Yeah,
you
that
you said
sounds
you
like it
did the
takes a lot
remake
away.
then?
What's that?
Ryan, you said you did play the remake or you did not?
No, I have not played the remake, but I have
So,
seen people. I have
yeah.
actually seen people who played the remake because I
Yeah.
was hesitant, and they started playing it, and they're like going, "Oh, I heard this was a scary game," and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay." And then they started playing it, and I'm like, going, "This is not how the original goes. This is a play.
Mhm.
The PlayStation 2 version does it better than the
Yeah.
remake. Now, if you don't have access to a PlayStation 2 or whatever, play the remake."
Yeah, I will say this though, as someone who's played both games, and I love both of them. The remake is not as bad as you think it is. There's a lot of good
It's
things
pretty
that it
bad, dude.
does.
It's pretty bad, dude.
I enjoyed it a lot.
That's
So I
fine.
mean,
I didn't
yeah,
say you didn't.
no, it's fine. Yeah, what is it is. But like I said, if you enjoyed the first one, I would just say try playing it just to see what you like.
It's
What's that?
Silent Hill 2 remake is based off Silent Hill 2, not the first one.
That's what I said. Silent Hill 2. Yeah.
You said the first one.
Sorry, I meant
The
you know what I mean.
original Silent Hill
Sorry,
2.
you
Yes.
confused. Sorry, you confused
No.
me. Sorry, my
If
my
you
bad, dude.
if you like Silent Hill 2 the game on the PS2 and obviously you haven't tried the remake of 2 on the PS5 or whatever PC or whatever you want to play it on, I would just try and give it a chance because it is actually pretty good. Like I thought the same thing. I'm like, oh crap, it's going to be more of a third person action kind of game. But as I started playing, I'm like, oh no, this is actually pretty good. Like that's just coming from me. Obviously,
No,
it is
no,
what it
that's
is. But
fine.
yeah,
Do you actually have a like a sorry, sorry, a playthrough to watch? I would watch that
M-
seriously.
me, I don't. Yeah, no. But I play games. No, I actually.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, my copies.
No, not a shot at you. Not a shot at you.
No, you're good.
I don't think
No, I
Jason
would-
actually streams any games.
Yeah, I don't stream any games.
rarely play video games online. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
What,
Yeah,
what do you
that's-
what do you think about the lighting and the atmosphere? Because it kind of felt like it wasn't really so.
No, the atmosphere was fantastic. I mean, if the lighting's what you can, I mean, you can change it, make it darker if you want to.
Okay.
Just use like the HDR settings and turn it down.
Okay. Definitely need to reevaluate. Yeah. Definitely need to play that.
And again, it's one of the things like if you have a chance and you can play like an hour of it and customize the settings, whatever it is, just knowing, because obviously you know the story, they do a really good job with the story and with everything like that. Like they don't change much of anything except for just it's now a third person game because that's just how games are now these days. They don't like the over the top, cameras and all that kind of things. Like,
Well, yeah, no,
I'm a fan of. A lot of people hate that. I mean, I was always a big fan of tank controls, but I mean, I do understand the game's
fan of tank controls.
I'm a fan of tank controls. It's crazy. Yeah, I know. See,
well, it was always a third person. So, but
yeah,
you could actually start breaking windows and stuff like that. And I did see that, which I didn't hate. I actually kind of liked because they're like going, "Oh, I can break a window and like go this way." And so no, maybe I definitely want to give it a chance. It's on my Steam wish list.
Yeah.
So
it was on
sale.
Steam, so you could try it and refund it in the 2 hours if you're not.
Yeah, I'll do that.
No, I'm a huge fan, so I want to play it all the way through. So appreciate it, Jason. Yeah, appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, like I said, and if you don't like it, I apologize. But like I said, I enjoyed it, and I mean, my and this is coming from that's played the original. My original is literally like 4 feet from me right now. So I mean, yeah, like I said, I enjoyed a lot of it, but more than I thought.
So
outstanding.
All right. Well, you may have converted him.
Maybe.
Well,
yeah.
I just got a recommendation for Dragon Age Veilguard like I don't know, a week and a half ago. And,
by who?
I'm not going to say.
All right, fair enough.
And but then I found out that like the first 10 hours of the game were great, and after that, it seemed to be a flop. So anyway, yeah, no, it's one of those things that user reviews, gamers, actual gamers who love the original
Mm.
franchise are
Mhm.
important. Silent Hill fans, Resident Evil fans, Dragon Age fans, like that's what's important. So
Mhm.
that is
Yeah.
my out on that one
No, you're
for
good.
Silent Hill.
And Christian mentions the one thing that I do know about Silent Hill is that and Vanquish came and hijacked the spot. What's up, Vanquish? I was just about to click
Mike.
on Christian's comment, and then Vanquish came in. Good to see you, Vanquish. How's it going? Great panel, and Ryan. Good to see you, Vanquish. But Christian's saying Silent Hill has a dog ending. That's the one thing that I do know about Silent Hill is there's an ending where there's a Shiba Inu that's in control of everything.
That's
Mhm.
true.
That's very true.
And then dude is popping in over on Rumble. Sorry if you I wasn't paying attention to the Rumble chat, so I don't know how long ago you said this, but he says, what arguments have I missed? So we're still on our number 4, so you haven't missed a whole lot. I love the song they chose when Eggman started walking in the mech in Sonic 2. I think I remember that. That was pretty cool. Tank controls work best when the game is designed for them.
Correct.
I can argue with that. The first two Metroid Primes are basically tank controls. Yeah, very similar. So, but yeah, all right. Well, thank you, dude, for chiming in over on Rumble. So, all right. Well, Jason, that'll bring us to you for your number 4.
Okay. So I think after all the movies, I think I'm going to be the first person that has not a video game movie based off a video game, but a video game centric movie. This one is pretty recent. To set this one up, The Truman Show is like one of my favorite movies to watch ever. I already watched it. So this next movie is if you took The Truman Show, but then you took pretty much everybody that makes Deadpool and made a movie. So my number 4 is Free Guy.
I had a feeling that's where you're going with that.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. That is
this
a good
movie
pick.
is awesome. Like
That's
this,
a good
like
pick.
yeah. I mean, the
I
start.
recommend.
Yes, this movie starts up with Mariah Carey Fantasy, and it just keeps going from there. It's awesome. The only thing that I would say that's bad about the movie, but I took it again. I looked at it as I was watching The Truman Show. When they add like the streamers and everybody like that, I think there's too many cutaways later on in the movie that's cutting to the streamers and taking the focus off of what's the
like
AI
real life
learning.
streamers that people would know.
Yeah, which is interesting because they're showing like, oh no, these people would have played this game that these people would have made, kind of thing. So I understand that part, but I think it kind of cuts away a little bit too much instead of going right there. And then the villain being Taika Waititi, or I can never say his name, Taika Waititi, being the villain is fantastic. I mean, like it's the same people that does, the Deadpool movie. Like pretty much this was a movie that they did before Deadpool and Wolverine. And then you can definitely see a lot of the stuff that they had for both movies. So, I mean, if you have never seen Free Guy, it is a lot of fun. I mean, if you like Ryan Reynolds movies, it has the whole love story kind of thing with that. And it's got the whole action. It's got the same humor. It's a fantastic movie to watch.
Yeah, when we were talking backstage without giving anything away, we were talking about some movies like I said, without giving anything away. And that's what I thought you were talking about.
Yeah.
But I had to wait till now to confirm.
Yeah.
So, fun movie. I looked it up when I was doing some homework for this stream, and because I remember Taika Waititi was in it. I figured that he probably directed it as well, but it's not. Sean Levy is the director, which I'd heard his name recently because
he did Deadpool
Wolverine. Yep.
Oh, Deadpool and Wolverine. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. I've not seen that yet. I'm looking forward to watching it. But yeah, I've heard his name a lot lately.
Yeah, no, that's a great pick.
This makes a lot of sense because he also did another fun Ryan Reynolds movie from a year after that was The Adam Project. I wanted to put that on my list, but it's not a video game movie. But I had a lot of I like that movie too. So
yep.
All right, that makes sense. Sorry, Jay, to cut you off.
No, that was just saying that's a really good pick. I didn't even think of that one, and I wish I had. Because it probably would have made my list. It's a really fun movie. I like Ryan Reynolds. I know he's always Ryan Reynolds in every movie he's in, but
talk about like Michelle Rodriguez being the same character in every movie. Ryan Reynolds is the same in every movie, and The Rock is the same in every movie.
Yep, that's the other one.
But I still like watching them.
Yeah, like he's a fun guy. He's charismatic. He's funny. Sometimes he can be a little much, but in the right roles, he can make for a good movie character. like Deadpool, like he was in the Free Guy movie. I can't. Was his name actually just Guy? I can't
He was
remember.
just
What
guy,
Guy.
yeah.
blue shirt
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
is that what they call him?
Blue shirt guy. Yep, and then he played. Then he had his secondary character, dude, which was another Ryan Reynolds.
That was the one where he was super ripped, right?
Yeah. No, I think it was it's just a fun movie. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. Honestly, I sat down with my wife and watched it because we were looking for something to watch, and she's like, "Oh, what's the trailer for that?" So we watched it, and she was like, "Yeah, let's watch it." And she loved it, and I was not
Mhm.
expecting that. I kind of figured it'd be like, "Oh, it's probably a decent little comedy with some good Ryan Reynolds jokes and a little bit of heart and humor to it, that whole thing." But then we're like, no, it stuck to the point where a few days later, she's like, I can't get that song out of my head because it was the Mariah Carey. God, I
Fantastic
can't remember the name
song.
of it now. Yes.
Fancy.
So like with that was a brilliant move by them because with that song came the thoughts of the movies, and she was like, I really like that movie 2 to 3 days later, which isn't like her to often, be really thinking about a movie a few days after we watch it. That's more me being the nerd type of thing. But no, it was great. I liked it. I thought it was fun. That's a really good choice in terms of video game stuff. I would have never thought of that one.
But yes, I brought it up a minute ago, but Dax and R heard good things. I would recommend it. It's a fun movie. But, and Chris is saying unpopular opinion, but I'm not interested in Deadpool Wolverine because I'm not a fan of the multiverse. Totally fair.
Yep.
Yeah, I get it. I'm sick to death of the multiverse. But it was really good. I think it's kind of one of those things where it's like Boy Who Cried Wolf, where like so many times they've got the multiverse wrong. So the one time they got it right, nobody wants to hear it. Or people who are already tired of hearing it don't want to. Obviously, a lot of people wanted to hear it because the movie did fantastic. But
Yeah,
I definitely get the people who are like, I'm just sick to death of the multiverse.
It's
done
the
wrong
highest. It's the second highest grossing movie of this
Right.
year. So I mean, look, I get it, Christian. But you're kind of wrong. So sorry.
No, I think
I would say try to put it aside and watch it because it's worth watching. It was a really fun movie.
Well, and if you want to sail the
If you
high
can.
seas, that's cool. Sail the high seas,
Yeah,
Captain
yeah.
Jack. Everybody loves Captain
Fair enough.
Jack.
Fair enough, right?
So funny behind the scenes here. I've got it pulled up here. The guy that plays the body of Dude in Free Guy, the super jacked, ripped version of Ryan Reynolds, is also the guy that played Juggernaut in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So they got
it's
a little
almost
crew
it's the same people.
together over
Yeah,
there.
it's the same crew. Yeah.
Same
But
director, that makes sense.
But to Christian's comment, I would say this: if you're not a fan of the multiverse, you should watch the movie because they take so many pot shots at it and almost take a dump on it that you would probably enjoy that, and that would make it more enjoyable for you. Is because how much they hate the multiverse too, and then they're here to make fun of what that was. So, if you are interested,
yeah, that's a really great point. They definitely go
Great
right
point.
on the nose with the fact that so many people are sick to death of the multiverse. And they do it in a good way too. It's not just like, oh, they're being obvious about it. Like the jokes are really funny. There's stuff that we kind of think as fans. So it was a really self-aware moment that kind of made it like, oh, okay, we're not just taking crazy pills here as fans. They know it too.
Yep.
Yeah, and he says here one things that I've gotten to know Christian a little bit since not meeting him in person, but online. He prefers overhyping hidden gems compared to most people. Yeah, he's always telling me about like stuff that like I've never heard about, or hyping up little things that most people don't know about. So that's awesome. So keep that up. And going back a comment to Vanquish says, I know no one is going to say it. Never say never. Need for Speed is a great bad movie. Amazing practical car stunts that may get mentioned later on. Hint,
that's
hint.
the Aaron Paul one,
Aaron
right?
Paul, yep.
Yeah. I remember that one.
So I like that movie. So you may want to hold your horses on that one. So, all right. Well, that will bring us into our number threes. So, Ryan, you want to kick us off for number three?
Yes, I would love to, because my number three is The Prince of Persia.
Ooh,
The Sands of Time.
I wanted to put that on my list, but it's been so long since I've seen it. I remember almost nothing about it.
From Disney.
That's right.
It was Jake Gyllenhaal, and it was
Ben Kingsley.
What was her name?
It's Gemma Arterton.
Gemma Arterton.
This
movie was actually so good, portraying the actual gameplay, and it got nothing. It got nothing. I didn't understand it. It also says it came out in like 2010, but it was
2010,
Yeah,
yep.
that sounds about right.
so it was I don't get it. Like it was one of my favorite movies that I wanted a sequel to so bad, and nothing. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
that
great. Come on now. I mean,
I would probably put it on my list. It's just been I saw it not long after it came out, and it's so that was like 14 years ago, and I don't remember almost anything about it other than I do remember that I saw it, but I remember nothing about it. So I was like, I can't put
I
it on
do.
there if I can't remember it. But I
So-
do remember that I enjoyed it. But that franchise in its entirety has been pretty much dormant until this year when they released the Lost Crown. That's the first Prince of Persia game we've had since I think I'd have to double check, but I think Prince of Persia 2008 was the last time we got a Prince of Persia game.
Yeah, it's definitely not the most active IP for sure. But no, so that movie, Ryan, I actually have always wanted to watch it, and I've just never squared away the time to, because I actually loved the Prince of Persia Sands of Time game for, I believe it was the original Xbox,
I think so.
Yeah.
right? So and I
It was on
loved that
GameCube
game.
as well, so it was probably
Yep,
on Xbox.
right. Yep. Like I to the point where like I remember the day I bought it, going to the store. My older sister drove me there to get it. Like I remember everything about it, bringing it home. I loved that game. And I'm a huge fan of Jake Gyllenhaal as an actor. So when the movie came out, had interest in watching it, and I think I got just kind of foolishly misled by the poor performance of the movie at the box office on that. So like I can't remember if it was reviews or whatever it was at the time. Being a young kid, I was kind of like, oh, I heard the movie's not good, I'm not going to watch it. And for years, I've always wanted to circle back and watch it. And when Neil brought up this list, this topic, it was one that for the past like 2 weeks, I was like, I got to try to finally watch that to see if it can crack my top 5. And I never got the time to be able to do it. So I will be doing it probably this weekend while I have some time, because now this just kind of put me over the edge of I need to finally watch that movie.
You should do a watch party, just for the record, and also at the same time. So the box office was 336 million, 365, 606.
When I sent
That's-
that link out to you guys today, I noticed that one had a huge box office on it, so it did pretty well. I just don't know what the
It
budget
did
was.
very
Did
well.
it? Oh, no kidding. See, I didn't even know that. No kidding.
It did
So I
very
wonder-
well. But the thing is, though, is that it was considered by Disney a box office flop.
Oh, the standards were just too high then. Interesting.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
I've always assumed it didn't do very well, because you're right. It kind of just like, you had Jake Gyllenhaal tied to it too. You would have thought franchise of Pirates of the Caribbean style, you could have at least.
That was
And
probably what it was put up against.
Right.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, good
That's
point.
exactly what it
Good
was.
point. Good point.
Yeah, so I pulled it up here, and its budget was between
Interesting.
150 and 200 million. So
It made money.
it made more than its budget, but when you factor in promotion and stuff, because I think it was pretty well promoted as well, it probably didn't make a huge profit. But yeah, that was
It's still
a fun movie,
profitable.
and I should probably I don't really watch almost anything anymore, but
Watch it.
I might have to go.
Yeah,
back and watch it
that
again.
one is. I got to watch that one. That one kind of just put me over the top of like, all right, dude, it's been 14 years. Finally watch the thing.
Do it now.
No, and Christian is correcting me, saying that the last Prince of Persia game up until this year's Lost Crown was Forgotten Sands, which I think was had it up here, was 2010. So I was off by a couple years. But
Also, same time.
the
as the
same
movie.
year as the
Oh,
movie.
right.
And then it was basically dormant until this year. So
And
Yeah.
he says, Prince Dastan. So
yeah. So cool. Well, good pick. Yeah, I think you
I
probably
know.
got at least a couple of us might have gotten us interested to go in and either and rewatching it, since it's been a while.
a while. Oh, the while.
So all right. Jason, what is your number 3?
All right, so my number 3 is probably the most one-to-one video game to movie adaptation probably ever. But my number 3 is Street Fighter 2, the animated movie.
Oh, animated movie. I didn't even know
Yeah.
there was one.
A lot of people, a lot of in the fighting game community does, but if you like animation, this is pretty much where like the game kind of took a lot of its art style afterwards, was after this movie. And I mean, it is a fantastic movie if you're a fan of like anime style things like that, from what that is. So I mean, from the opening scene where they do the whole Ryu versus Sagat in the, you know, the field with lightning going down, where they put that in alpha games, to the, you know, the Chun-Li Vega fight, to the everything that does it. I mean, the only issues I have is some of the like the extra characters like Cammy, T-Hawk, and all that stuff. They're not in it as much. They're like, hey, look at us, we're in this movie, because they're trying to fit everybody in there. But you get like Violent Ken from this movie. Bison's animation is fantastic. Little fun facts is Bryan Cranston plays Fei Long as his voice for just a little bit, which is always weird. Yeah, it's always one of those weird little trivia things about this animated movie. But if you're a fan of like anime style and you're just a fan of Street Fighter in general, it's on YouTube. You can watch the unedited version whenever you want, kind of thing. So it is it's a fun watch, and one of my favorite animated style. Like, I'm not the biggest anime guy, but like this would be considered up there as like my favorite anime thing, because of how well everything is portrayed and how, like I said, the characters are literally one-to-one from game to movie. So that's why it's my number 3.
It's cool. I didn't even know this existed. I will put the link to this, since it's on YouTube. I'll put it in the stream description. So anybody after the fact wants to go and watch it, I'll put the link in there.
Yeah, it's a fun watch.
Cool. Well, yeah. I thought you were going with the Street Fighter movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
So no, I didn't even know about that until I knew about obviously the first one, but then I found out about the animated one because I was like, oh yeah, I've seen Street Fighter the movie, and everybody's like, did you see the real one? I was like, yeah, the one with, you know, Raul Julia and Jean-Claude and, you know, everybody that way. It's like, no, there's a real one. I was like, all right, are you just gonna tell me the name of it? And they just told me, and then they told me the name of it. I was like, can't find it anywhere. So the first time I got to see it was when I went to Suncoast and, you know, spent a lot of money on it because Suncoast had those movies kind of thing. So, but yeah, it's great.
All right, animated. I'm saving right now. So I'll update it. So if you refresh the stream, the link is there. But don't leave and watch it yet. Wait till after the stream.
Wait. That movie's not going anywhere.
So, and I apologize, dude. I keep forgetting about Rumble, and he was saying that Free Guy is great. Taika Waititi did a great job as the villain. Ready Player One or Sword Art Online movies could make the list because it's top 5 video game movies, not adaptations. Deadpool and Wolverine makes fun of the idea of the multiverse, so it does for anything related to those movies. So, and yeah, Prince of Persia: Lost Crown is the only game for Ubisoft that made money this year, and they closed the studio. Shame on them.
Yep.
What a year they've had.
Yeah, and
man,
I'm very much. I haven't played it yet, but I'm very much looking forward to playing Lost Crown at some point, especially it being a Metroidvania and all. Hey, and Higher Cider is here, who's been hanging out with me on my Dude Soul streams on Wednesday night. So good to see you on one of my other streams. Which Transformer did you like and rate? I loved Transformers, but I never really watched it because this was a little bit before my time. My favorite thing as a kid was Beast Wars. So my favorite was Optimal Optimus, and I actually have the Transformer figure. I just don't know where it is. Once I find it, it's going on my background.
Yeah, I have to agree. My name is Optimus Prime, and I mean, come on,
good.
Peter Cullen, are you serious?
I am Optimus Prime.
I'm not even a huge Transformers guy, but even I recognize the iconic voice work of him as Optimus Prime. I mean, legendary.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Beast Wars was really my thing. So. All right. Let's see here. I think I'll go ahead and go next, and then Nurtex can finish off our number 3s. So for me, I would say this is probably one of the first. not maybe not the first video game adaptation, but probably the first one that did it decent and did pretty well. And that is oh goodness, I just blanked on her freaking name. Angelina Jolie, and that was the original Tomb Raiders.
Oh, Tomb Raider.
Those were fun. And she was, great to look at. And I was never, I don't even think I played the original Tomb Raiders. The first ones that I played were the ones on 360, like Legend and Underworld. But I always wanted to play them. So it was cool. And I did watch the 2018 one with Alicia Vikander, but I like the Angelina Jolie ones better. And it was funny because I went back and watched them. This is one of the ones that I have seen more than once. And I went back and watched them probably like 5 or 6 years ago. So it's been a while. But when I watched the second one again, I was like, holy crap, Gerard Butler was in that one, because he was a no-name back then. Like, no one knew who he was. So it was funny going back and seeing him in that movie. But yeah, they were fun movies, and yeah, Angelina Jolie was looking great in them, and I think they captured the spirit of the games pretty well. So the mid early 2000s Tomb Raider movies are my number 3. So kind of like the Sonic movies, I kind of clumped those two because there was Cradle of Life, I think, was the second one.
Yes,
and then
sounds right.
What was the first one called? I swear it had a subtitle, or was it just
Tomb Raider? Literally, Lara Croft.
Lara Croft Tomb Raider. Yeah.
Okay, so it didn't have a subtitle like Cradle of Life or anything. So okay, but I grouped them together. Those are fun, and they did pretty decent.
Yeah, I remember I watched them when I was younger. I was a kid at the time, and I remember watching them, and I remember seeing them. They were all the time. They'd be on like TBS and TNT and all those kind of stations on cable. So I used to catch bits and pieces of it for years all the time too. And yeah, they were good. I think that's honestly kind of when I first think of video game movies, my mind almost immediately goes to those kind of just either, if not the very first, somewhere in the first like 5 that I think of. Definitely kind of the first ones I think that started to really get Hollywood investing into video game franchises for movies.
Oh, just like Gerard Butler in the second one, I didn't even remember him being in it until I just pulled it up right now. But Daniel Craig was in the first one.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Like no one knew who he was because it was really Casino Royale that kind of put him on the map for a lot of people.
Right. Which would have been like 07-ish or 08, I think, somewhere in that range. So it'll still be a few years later.
But yeah, fun movies. And yeah, as Higher Cider said, great booba. Not going to complain.
Yep. Fair enough.
So, all right. Unless anyone else has anything they want to say about Tomb Raider, we'll go on to Nerd Takes for his number 3.
All right. So my number 3 is one where I haven't played the game, but it's more about the IP that they used and just my experience growing up with it. So my number 3 is Detective Pikachu, another Ryan Reynolds movie. In general, one of the reasons I love it is just because I grew up smack dab as a kid in the middle of the
Pokemon phenomenon.
Like I was the target age group that they were going for. So I just absolutely adored it, from collecting the cards to the anime show to playing the game. I remember having the Game Boy Pocket in black and white, playing the games and being so pumped when I finally got one that was Game Boy Color, so I could put the cartridge in there and actually play the game in color. To this day, I still have my original blue Game Boy Pocket with my Pokemon Blue version that I had gotten from then. And every so often, I'll just fire it up and play through it. I used to be every couple of years. At this point, it's as I'm getting a little older and a little less time. It's been more like probably 3 to 4 years since I've last even picked it up, never mind complete it. But so the nostalgia for Pokemon is huge for me. So when this movie came out, although it's based on the Detective Pikachu game, which I think was like 2016 or 15-ish, which I never...
A DS game, so...
Yeah, right. So it was one that I never played. I knew nothing about it. And when they first announced the movie, I even kind of laughed. I'm like, you're doing a what? A Detective Pikachu and Ryan Reynolds is Pikachu? Like, the whole thing just seemed like kind of like a meme. Like, is this real? But then I watched it. And I got to say, I really liked it. It's a little bit of Ryan Reynolds still just be, I mean, it's not a little bit. It's Ryan Reynolds still just being Ryan Reynolds. Like, it is what it is. But again, in the right spots and done the right way, he's very charming. He's funny. So the humor hits in it pretty well. It's a little bit of a family story to a degree with a decent plot twist and all that without spoiling things. But seeing the Pokemon in live action was just like, as a kid, a dream come true. All those times you're into Pokemon as a kid, you're like, imagine if this was real, and Bulbasaur and all these things would come out of all these areas and it was all real. To see them look real like that, and as we were talking about earlier, not in some weird, creepy realism way, but a true live action 3D version of what they look like as they were printed on the cards and drawn in the cartoons and all that. It was just so cool. Mewtwo, Charizard, all these legendary ones that you get to see. I had a blast watching that movie. The story was, decent enough to keep you entertained. Good, heartfelt message in it. No acting complaints to really have anywhere. I thought everybody was fine. And Ryan Reynolds, did Ryan Reynolds, so you can't really complain there.
Yeah.
But
I will say Catherine Newton's character as the Ditto was pretty scary.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
But again, that's the point. But yeah, like Catherine Newton being the Ditto eyes, I was like, yeah, that was pretty terrifying.
Fair enough.
But again, it's supposed to be.
I was considering that one because I did enjoy it. I was never into Pokemon, though. I haven't played any of the Pokemon games. I watched a couple episodes of the anime, but I did enjoy the movies. So, but it was, Pokemon's not a big franchise for me. So if it was a bigger in my, my lexicon of games, then it probably would have made my list too, because I did enjoy it.
Right. Fair enough. And I think if we were doing, like we said earlier, if we were doing a list of the best made ones, it would probably make a lot of those lists just because,
yes,
structurally, foundationally, it's a solid movie. It's not blowing anybody away or winning any Oscars, but it's, it's a solid movie, especially in the comparison of other video game movies.
100% agree.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, on to our number twos. I'm going to go ahead and kick this off because this is one that was already mentioned, and my number two is Free Guy. So, yeah, that's why without mentioning it, we were talking about movies backstage, and I thought he was talking about Free Guy, and I was talking about Free Guy, but I didn't mention it because it's a great, fun movie. I definitely recommend it, unless you just really despise Ryan Reynolds, which I totally get. I like him in pretty much everything I've seen him in, even though he plays the same character. I like him, and it was a lot of fun. Definitely like personifies like MMO, not MMO RPGs, but just like massive like multiplayer, like always online games. If you were to basically, it's if I definitely understand the Truman Show reference. I would say more accurately though is if you were to make like GTA Online.
Yep. See, that's how I view it.
That's what Free Guy is.
Yep. And he's just like the guy at the liquor store and all that just constantly is getting robbed all the time. And that was the comparison I went right to. It immediately made me think of that. And it's such a cool concept too. I don't know that we talked about this the first time when this came up, but thinking of it now, it's such a cool concept to think of like, all right, let's pretend these NPCs actually did have like, some life going on inside of there. How crazy would it be to actually like, wake up and just repeat the same thing? He gets robbed at the bank every day. And it's just like, it's an interesting concept to explore from a mental standpoint of like, just imagine for a second that it's real. I really did like that movie. I wish I thought of it myself, because that would have been on probably my list as well this week.
Yeah, like again, like everybody has the same thing. I care. They obviously at the end of the movie they tell like the character's name, but the guy that always has his hands up, and he's telling him like, you don't have to have your hands up. You can actually put them down. And he tries so hard. He's like, no, I got you. Because what if it's just easier to have them up here just in case if somebody comes to rob me. It's like, well, you don't have to be robbed all the time. And he's just kind of just telling them like, no, this is how it can be.
This movie is actually why I sent out a question to Jason. Is like, can we make it more than just video game adaptations into like video game centric movies? Because I wanted to put this on my list.
Yep, fair enough.
I'm happy you did.
Right. I'm as well, because I hadn't thought about it in a while, and now I'm just having a good laugh thinking about that movie. I really enjoyed it.
So, but yeah, Free Guy was on number two, and a lot of fun. I definitely recommend everyone watching because it was great. Oh, and dude is saying that in regard to Detective Pikachu, the fact that the villain had a Ditto as an assistant that could transform into a human, the implications for that would make
It's
those leaks
insane.
child's play.
It'd be crazy.
Oh, that's funny. I don't want to think about that too much. So
No.
moving right along. Oh, Ryan, why don't you go with your number 2?
All right. My number 2 is going to be Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Hey!
That's why you weren't saying much.
That's why.
Oh,
So
we got Captain Keeley's here. What's up, Captain Keeley? Good to see you. Welcome.
hell, Captain. No, so mine is going to be Angelina Jolie's portrayal of Lara Croft. And I said it wrong. It's Lara.
Lara, thank you.
Lara Croft.
So many people say Laura. It's not Laura. There's no U. It's
No,
Lara.
no, it's yeah. She did such a good job in that first movie. It was a huge hit. And it was, in my opinion, one of the best video game adaptations of all time. Now, the second movie, we can talk about it on the outskirts. But Angelina Jolie, and yes, Daniel Craig was in that movie, and it was so good. It was so good in every way, shape, and form. She felt like Lara. She portrayed that. It was
Yeah.
incredible.
She did a great job of personifying the character of Lara Croft.
Yeah, in my opinion, it was what kicked off video game movies to a high level.
100%.
Mm-hmm. No, I would agree. I think that's when Hollywood was like, okay, we can really start to invest into these. And it was almost like that kind of Batman 89 moment where they were like, oh, or I guess actually
That's a
even
good
more
point.
so because that kind of kicked it off for an era, but the bad Batman movies that followed ruined it again. So even like the X-Men.
Are you talking trash about Batman and Robin?
Yeah, well, not the greatest, but no,
that was my
similarly
first
to-
Batman movie, so I have a special place in my heart for that one.
Fair enough. But
I
X-Men
know
did
it's
it
bad,
even
but I
more
do
on.
enjoy it because of the nostalgia factor, because it's the Batman I grew up with.
Mhm.
And
No,
come on, Arnold does a great job in that movie.
Yeah.
Who can't?
Sure he does.
It's a more comic accurate Bane than The Dark Knight Rises. I'll
That's
give it that.
It is.
I'll
That's
give it
That's
that.
true.
But no, I agree. I do think Tomb Raider had a similar effect like that, where Hollywood was like, okay, we can really invest into these and see if we can adapt them. The results weren't particularly great afterwards, but who knew they'd reach the peak so quickly and so early with that first Tomb Raider movie? I think it was a really good one.
Excellent. Yeah, I thought you were uncharacteristically quiet when I was talking about it. That makes sense.
What? Me? No.
So, dude saying Batman and Robin is still when bad movies is when bad movies were still fun. Exactly. Not good, but it's fun. I like that movie.
Honestly, they still have a nostalgia for me too. But they're definitely they're interesting to go back and watch.
I get that with Batman Forever just because of Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Jay, what is your number 2?
So my number 2 is actually a pretty recent one. Honestly, it's not even a game I've played a ton of, to tell you the truth. I've tried it. I couldn't personally get into it, but I have enjoyed watching other people play it in terms of like streamers and stuff like that. It is Five Nights at Freddy's. It came out, I want to say last year, maybe last October or something like that.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, and it totally caught me by surprise. It was another game where it's like you hear, or another movie rather, where you hear, oh, they're making a movie on a game. What is it? Five Nights at Freddy. Immediately you're like, what? How on earth are you going to make a movie about Five Nights at Freddy's?
There's not a lot of content to pull from. On
yeah,
that
it's like I could not fathom how you do it.
You were right. October of 2023.
Right?
So you nailed it.
I had a feeling because I remember. Well, I remember
Right
specifically because it went up against Captain Marvel a little after that, and Captain Marvel.
Oh,
flopped.
the Marvels.
Oh, sorry. Yes, the Marvels, and that flopped, and people were like, "Oh, it's this reason, that reason, this reason," and about certain things. I can't even remember what the complaints were, but it was this, that, the other thing about the timing of the release of the movie, and it was like, I think it was just a bad movie because Five Nights at Freddy's did really well in that same window in terms of the
It
box
blew
office.
up, yeah.
So it was kind of the counteractor to the kind of narrative that was surrounding the Marvels at the time. But beyond just that, it was a good movie. I really liked it. I liked the way they took a game that seemed like it has no real story to make out of it and give it one.
See, that's the
go
crazy thing.
ahead.
There's so much story in that game, and this is only by people that like talk about the game and like figure out what's going on. So I didn't get a chance to see it. I kind of want to, but if they use any of the things that like the online talk about what the game's actually doing and everything like that, I think the second one that's going to be coming out in the next like year or two, and if they just go on that aspect, like the story maybe actually will finally be ironed out in a way because of the stuff that's been talked. Like there's so many random like theories of what happens in each game that it would be insane to actually see that done well.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I don't know enough about the game, unfortunately. And when I watched this last year, I remember being like, you know what, maybe I'm going to play more of it. And I never did. And I still kind of want to, but I also just kind of feel like I could just never really get into it. It's not really my style of game. So it's like it never bubbles back up to the top of the list where I do give it another shot, but maybe I will sometime in the near future. We'll see. Maybe if they do another movie and they knock it out of the park again, I'll definitely get the bug and go back and play it.
I would almost watch just the theories of the game because obviously,
Well, it's that kind of interests me alone.
Yeah, watch the theories of the game first because, like I said, when you play the game, you're just playing a puzzle game where you're like, oh, cool, I got to make sure the power doesn't go out and there's a jump scare if I screw up. Where the people like that have gone through every little game and like picked out like, oh, there's this message here or this mini game that you did. Oh, it's not a mini game, it's because of this. And like, there's random little things that people have found that even the creators like, oh yeah, you're onto something, and like that's about it. Like he won't say yes, he won't say no because there's some secret thing that he has, and some people have found for sure things out. But yeah, like if going down that rabbit hole is kind of fun, but also it's a rabbit hole, so take it with a grain of salt, kind of thing. But it's it is interesting.
That feels like a pretty solid YouTube wormhole I could get down, though.
Yeah,
I'd be pretty interested in all that.
It very much is.
And dude says it's just a theory, a game theory.
Yeah, he's a very good start to if you want to look down that thing.
Hey, and Pop Culture Mechanic, who's going to be my guest on Open Mic on Thursday, says, "Hello, gents. Did you mention Tomb Raider? Yes, we just talked about Tomb Raider twice because it was on my list and it was also on Ryan's list. So good to see you, Pop Culture Mechanic. Looking forward to chatting on Thursday. So slight bit of a tangent because, or I guess you could call it that. I'm curious because I've heard." Because this is heavily inspired by Five Nights at Freddy's, but it's not Five Nights at Freddy. But I've heard it was even better than the Five Nights at Freddy movie. Have any of you guys seen Willy's Wonderland, the Nick Cage version?
I've heard of it. Haven't seen it.
No, I actually
I've heard it's good. Either. Yeah, it's basically Five Nights at Freddy's, but with Nick Cage. And I've heard good things. What was that, Ryan?
No, I haven't.
Okay. All right. Well, then moving right along.
no, I've heard good things too. Like I said, it was supposed to be that before that came out, but then again, it's Nick Cage doing his thing. So yeah, no, I've heard of the movie, just didn't get a chance to watch it.
Yeah, the Five Nights at Freddy's, it did pretty well. I think it blew up. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure it did pretty very well at the box office, especially considering budget. I don't think it was a huge budget. I could be wrong on that.
So
I don't think it was very big.
And I want to say I could be totally wrong on this, so please.
20 million on the budget.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty small. I want to say they might have did a very quick release to Peacock as well, or whatever streaming service. I want to say it was that Peacock one,
and it made almost 300 million.
Yeah, and like it's still
worldwide, so it made a crazy profit.
Right. Yeah, no, and I do think that speaks to a bit of the passionate fan base behind the Five Nights at Freddy's game, which I know is a very passionate one and apparently a very large one as well. So credit to them for supporting the movie and having a good turnout for it, because I don't think it was a movie that was on a ton of like your average household talking about oh, have you seen that new Five Nights at Freddy's movie type of thing. I gotta imagine it was heavily fueled by that fan base. So kudos to them.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So, and Captain Keeley says, I have. It's kind of neat. It's dumb fun. Talking about Willy's
Oh,
Wonderland.
interesting.
So, and Higher Cider saying World of Warcraft kind of good. I don't know why people hate it. I do have some things to say about that movie as well here in just a minute. So I'm not going to spoil the fun. So, all right. So that is me. And I guess that leaves it with Jason to finish off our number 2s.
Yeah, so as we were backstage, I was talking about this and going hype stuff. So yeah, these next 2 movies I'm going to talk about are pretty much in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. So
we're talking,
yes.
and he's like, these aren't just my favorite video game movies. Some of these are my favorite movies of all time. I'm like, whoa, that says a lot.
Yeah, so this can judge my character on how bad of a taste I have, or it could, help out a little bit down the line. We never know. We'll find out, though. But my number 2 is Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Ah, okay.
Oh, good one. I like that movie a lot.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love this movie. It's, everything that, if you're like a fan of like, of just, oh man, I just had a brain fart too. Shaun of the Dead, all that, all those kind of things, Edgar Wright movies, it's all right there, but in a video game, music craziness thrown at you. There's boss battles. There's everything that you want to, see. And the cast is fantastic. Everything about the movie is, to me, makes it, again, one of my favorite movies, let alone my number 2 favorite video game movie of all time. But I mean, if you've seen it, you know everything about it. If you haven't seen it, watch it. If you're a fan of Edgar Wright at all, this is a great movie to, to sit down and watch.
I do like Edgar Wright. I've not seen it in its entirety. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but back in college, my roommate was like obsessed with this movie. He literally watched it like every day for months.
It's a good one. I really like it. I agree with that entire take on it. It's very Edgar Wright. It's very stylish.
It always looks like a fun movie. I just never got around.
Yeah, it is. It's very fun. The casting is great. Michael Cera's great in the role.
I think that's kind of
are really
put me
cool.
off because I don't really care for Michael Cera that much.
Fair enough. See, I like him. I was always a big fan of Arrested Development and Superbad and all that. So I've always liked Michael Cera. So I can definitely see his style not being for everyone for sure. But no, it's a really good movie. Like you said, fun. It's well written, well acted. The effects, all that, the way they do the fights and these superpowers that they try to represent are all really cool visually. So
yep,
it's a great choice.
Dude says Scott Pilgrim ruined dating.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's funny.
Yeah, like I said, the people have seen it. Knives got, I feel bad for her.
Yep.
Did you ever play the actual Scott Pilgrim beat 'em up game?
I did.
Was that pretty good? It looked like
yeah.
A pretty fun beat 'em up.
If you like Castle Crashers and all that stuff, it was like almost not the same, but yeah, it was like in that vein. I mean, it's a beat 'em up, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
The guy says for a chick who has so many exes, girl, if you have that many exes, there's something wrong with you.
That's true.
Yeah, and Higher Side says that movie feels like a video game, but I did find out it's based on a comic. I did know that.
Yep.
And I refer to the movie one. It's such more good. Oh, the movie's better than the comic. Interesting.
Oh, interesting. I've never read the comic. I've only watched the movie.
I haven't either. But
I've seen a little bit of or read some of the comic, but not all of it. But of everybody that's read all of the comic usually says the opposite. So I mean, the movie did great, but yeah, a lot of people do like the comic. So
okay, yeah, it's like when a adaptation surpasses the source material, that's pretty nuts. That doesn't happen very often.
Mm-hmm.
So. All right. Well, fun stuff. All right. Well, before we get into our number ones, we like to go into our honorable mentions. So, anybody want to kick us off with their honorable mentions?
I can, because a lot of mine have already been mentioned except for one. So, I have 3 of my honorable mentions. The Wizard is definitely on there. Definitely kind of, best way to show new product and make you buy stuff is go watch this movie, and then you also make money while doing that. So great way to see Super Mario 3 and the Power Glove.
Yeah, the whole movie was an advertisement for those two things.
Yep, pretty much. Yep. Another one was Detective Pikachu. I did enjoy that one quite a bit too. And then one that hasn't been said that I thought was going to be on there, but didn't make mine, but was Grandma's Boy.
Oh, Yeah, see, I knew I had seen a lot of movies that were like video game adjacent in that kind of way, and I just couldn't think of them. But yeah, that's another really good one.
Yeah, that's another one where I've like been told like, dude, you gotta watch Grandma's Boy, and I started it and I just never finished it. I need to go watch that movie because I from what I hear, I know I would love it.
Yeah, it's fun. Like I said, it's a stoner comedy movie.
That's
I
the
mean,
one
you
thing
see,
that kind of put me off from it because I don't really care about stoner movies.
you'll watch that and then you'll be like, that's the only thing that puts you off is because you like. I watched it again just to be like, was it my number 5? And I watched it. I'm the same way, and I'm like, man, this is more of a stoner comedy than I thought it was, kind of thing. But I mean, it is what it is, kind of thing.
And pop culture saying Street Fighter, both the Van Damme and the animated movie, that was on Jason's because I didn't even know the animated one even existed until just a few minutes ago when he mentioned it.
Yep, you said it's in our the whatchamacallit for the animated movies in the description.
Yeah, and the link if anybody wants to go and watch the animated Street Fighter movie, it is in the stream description, so you can go check that out after the stream's over. So, all right. So, as for me, I don't know, Vanquish, if you're still here, this is what I was referring to earlier. Need for Speed, I did put that in my honorable mentions because not a good movie, but I did really enjoy that movie. A lot of really nice cars in that one, and it was fun. The recent Jumanji with The Rock and Jack Black, I did like that one. I didn't see the second one yet, but I did really like the first one. And Karen Gillan, who she's probably most well known for either, depending on what side of the pond you're on, either Doctor Who or Nebula in the MCU. But you don't really know what she looks like because she's bald and all blue. But she's really hot and she looks great in this movie. Basically inspired by Lara Croft. That was a fun movie. And as Higher Cider just mentioned a few minutes ago, the Warcraft movie. I know nothing about Warcraft. I played WoW for a day, but so I don't know anything about the lore, but I thought it was fun. I think it did. I don't know if that movie did very well here, but I think it did huge in China, if I remember correctly. But it was fun. And yeah, I can't, since I don't know anything about the lore, I can't really say whether it was actually good or bad, but I enjoyed it. And Paula Patton was, for being an orc, was not bad to look at either. And speaking of not bad to look at, this was what I was referring to backstage before we started. I saw this. I didn't see the entirety of it, but I saw about the second half of it for the first time just a couple months ago in the Melee Discord on a watch party. And this would definitely be like my number one guilty pleasure video game movie. And that was Dead or Alive.
I knew you were going to say DOA. I knew it. I knew it. I was afraid you were going to say
it. So you were right then.
I was right.
Terrible, but it's so much fun, and it's got a lot of hot women, and there's fighting, and it was just so much fun. It was great. My biggest complaint in that I don't really know a whole lot about the Dead or Alive side of things, but Ninja Gaiden is one of my favorite games of all time. The Ninja Gaiden Black on the original Xbox, and Ryu Hayabusa is in that Dead or Alive franchise. But I'm not a fighting game person, so I've never really played any of the DOA games. But I do know a lot of the characters. A couple of them are in Ninja Gaiden, like Ayane and Kasumi are both in the Ninja Gaiden games. So I know those characters, but I know a lot of the other ones just by reputation. My favorite, probably my number one video game waifu. I think we ranked this on Party Chat back in September. Is Tina Armstrong. I think was my number one. My main complaint was that not that she was just miscast. Just I wish I didn't think that she was as hot in the movie as she was in the game. That was my biggest complaint. But terrible movie, but it's just so much fun. So my number one guilty pleasure. That was great. So yes, you were correct in that I was referring to Dead or Alive.
Yeah, I didn't want to say 3 letters in the back room. I was like, it's DOA. I know it's DOA. It sounds like DOA. I want it to be DOA.
Oh, and Christian saying Grandma's Boy was scrapped video game featured in it called Demonic. That's right. I did hear about that. It was in a game that was intended for the 360, but it never actually released. And Sire saying, I always knew Bro would watch the movie with the booba. Nice one. Yeah, I'd never seen it until a couple months ago, but that was fun. Oh, and dude is saying that the second Jumanji is just as fun as the first one. It looked like it. I just never got around to watching it. And he's saying, doesn't the Street Fighter animated movie have a Chun-Li shower scene? I have no idea. So Jay,
It definitely does. That's why when I said I kind of briefly went by, I was like, yeah, there's the Chun-Li and Vega fight, and yeah, there's a Chun-Li scene.
Nice. And then my last two honorable mentions are one is like actually a good movie, but it's not about the game. It's about the development of the game. And that was the Tetris movie that came out last year or the year before.
I wanted to watch that.
Man.
With
I wanted to watch that.
It was really
It's so
good.
yeah.
I definitely recommend it if you haven't watched it.
Okay.
I'm not even a huge Tetris fan. I played it back in the day on original Game Boy, and I don't think I've played it since. But that was a great movie about the development of Tetris. I know it was Hollywoodized, like you know, not everything that actually happened in the movie actually happened in real life.
Sure.
But it was still a great movie, and I definitely recommend it. The main issue was I think the only place it was available was like on Apple Plus or something. So it might have been.
Yeah, it was the Apple streaming service. That is another great pick. Oh man, I did not think hard enough when it came to video game adjacent or video game kind of based movies. That's another really, really good. That is just like a sound, very good movie as well. On top of being related to video games and just being in that realm.
Yeah, I was surprised by how much I
Great
enjoyed
choice.
that movie.
Okay, watch that.
And then my last one is basically just like a love letter to just gaming in general. The movie wasn't great, but it was fun. And that was Ready Player One. It was great to see so many of like the franchises we grew up with, like, on this giant battlefield. It was like Endgame sort of thing. It was like, that was really cool. And who hasn't wanted to actually like go into their video games, not just play it on a screen? So
Right.
That was fun. Yeah. I didn't think it was great. I'd probably give it like a 7, but it was a fun movie and I did enjoy it. So
yeah, it was a fun ride, and it was definitely cool to see some of those characters in the game for sure. A lot of those references really hit home as a gamer. So it was fun.
So that is all of my honorable mentions. So Ryan, I haven't heard from you in a few minutes. What are your honorable mentions, or do you have any? Because I might have forgotten to tell you that we do honorable mentions. That was, if you don't have any, that's entirely my fault.
No, I don't, because quite frankly, I'm waiting for the top one because I have to go to bed soon.
All right.
I literally get up at 4 a.m. So this is I'm struggling, guys. Sorry.
No worries. All right. We'll get Jay to give us his honorable mentions. Then we'll start off with you to lead us off for number one, so you can bounce if you want.
Sorry, guys.
No worries, man. No, it's late on my end too, man. I get you. No worries. I'll fly through mine, to be honest with you. You're
good.
But honestly, because I want to steal a few of the ones that have been mentioned, I would definitely put Tetris in there, Free Guy. Those are ones I wish I had thought of, because they probably would have made my top 5. I would say the Mortal Kombat movies, I like all of them. The original ones that are a little bit cheesier, but I enjoy them for the nostalgia. And I even found some enjoyment out of the more recent one. It's not great, but it was still cool, at least, to see some of the action that they did with it and how they kind of translated Mortal Kombat to the screen with the characters and all that. And the one I was talking about backstage, where I couldn't remember if the game or the movie came first, was Tron, but not Tron the original movie, although I know people love that one. I actually have a weird love for Tron Legacy, even though it's not a great movie, and I know it's not, and I know everybody prefers the original Tron, but that movie just kind of hit me at the right time as a teenager. Me and a few of the buddies going to the theaters on the $5 ticket day, and just watching it with the big screen, the music from Daft Punk playing, the visuals were cool, and it just has a nostalgia place for me back in the high school days. So that was the one that almost made 5, but then I realized it wasn't technically the game. The game came after the movie, so I'm like, I'll slide Hitman in there instead.
All right. Any others?
Nope.
All right. And then dude is saying that Ready Player One had to change some things because I couldn't get the rights that were mentioned in the book. Ready Player One, Iron Giant wasn't in the book. Okay. So, all right. Well, with that, we'll go into our number ones, and we will let Ryan lead us off with that, so he can bounce if he needs to.
Yeah. So Ryan, I have a feeling that your number one and my number one are probably going to be the same. So I'll let you start it off.
I'm pretty sure that is accurate, and yeah, I haven't mentioned it at all tonight because I had a feeling that was going to be the case. So Ryan, go ahead and lay it on.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
I'm pretty sure because we talked about this on Party Chat, and that's why you're on this panel tonight for video game movies.
Well, yeah. So I tried to put my camera on again, and I forgot I turned the. Anyway, it's Mortal Kombat. Dun, 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 dun,
I knew it.
dun, 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 dun. I mean, let's be honest. This is the movie.
Yep.
This is the video game movie. How cheesy it was for
Preach.
1995. It is one of the most iconic video game movies, if not the iconic video game movie of all time. So that's mine.
Yeah, when I was talking about Tomb Raider, and I said, it kind of really put video game movies on the map. And then, dude, I saved it because I knew this was going to come up. Dude said Mortal Kombat was before Tomb Raider, but I didn't mention it because I was saving it for now. So
it was, yeah.
Well, Mortal Kombat
Absolutely.
started it and then killed it, and then Tomb Raider came back. So
because of it.
All right, it was almost like the same thing comic book.
Easy
Ryan
now.
has to defend Annihilation.
you can't defend Annihilation.
I can defend it.
Watch
all I
it.
You can.
fucking want,
You
dude.
can. I don't. You. No, you can. You're right. I apologize. It's hard to defend Annihilation. I will say it that way. How about that?
That's very true. Very true.
So, Ryan, you love Annihilation as well?
I really like Annihilation, but the
Okay.
original Mortal Kombat movie, I mean, let's be honest. Come on now. You can watch that at any time. Paul W.S. Anderson. Yes, he was somebody who like going, Resident Evil and stuff like that later on. Monster Hunter.
That's right. His latest flop, I think.
But the original Mortal Kombat, there is no way in shape or form you can argue against that.
Yeah.
No, it's a classic.
Like
Every time I talk about this movie, I always have to bring this up.
Okay, I was like, Jason's like, I give up. I can't argue.
No.
with that, so I'm just out.
No. He's right. The movie is so good.
That's your number one, isn't it, Jason?
That's my number one. Yeah, by far. He's like,
Yes!
I had a feeling.
Yeah. It's the best video game movie of all time. Like, there's nothing. There's the characters that they got for the movie. Absolutely great. I mean, anytime, like, even in the new games that they try to do the skins from the characters from the movie is the best thing ever. I mean, like, everybody played their spot absolutely great. I always find it funny when they talk about the movie that the worst actor to deal with was the Goro because of how that thing always broke down and they had to reset shots and everything like that. I mean, everything about that movie is so good. I mean, I was so excited for that movie that I always bring this up when I talk about the movie is because this right here got me even more excited about the movie because it was the thing before the movie and it was in the worst
VHS, baby.
Yeah, and it had the worst, like, 3D art to talk about, like, why Scorpion and Sub-Zero were actually on a team because they hated each other so much. But if you actually listen to the movie, how Shang Tsung actually got them to obey, kind of thing. It's crazy as it sounds because I just want to see it. I would love to see the cut where they don't have the reptile fight and they don't have there's the other fight too. There's two fights that were added later in the movie because the test audience were like, I thought this was a movie about fighting, kind of thing like that. So I just want to see it just to say, like, I've seen it, kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, the reptile fight, the music in that fight is absolutely great.
It's the best.
Yeah, good choice. Mortal Kombat movie, such good music. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I
Don't
mean,
apologize. It's
yeah,
Jason, would you like to actually do a podcast about Mortal Kombat?
you guys
I would
totally could do a stream
I
about
would-
it.
I'd listen to that for sure.
I would absolutely. I absolutely. I mean, we could. I would. We'll do the first one and the second one, so you can try to convert me
Let's
more
do it.
into
There
the
you go.
second one.
Let's do it.
I'm the game. I don't hate the second one. I just wish that what's the actor's name that played Raiden was just better at what he did, and then
Christopher
also
Lambert.
no, he was in the first one. Christopher Lambert is fantastic as Raiden.
Yeah, he was in the first.
Was he not Raiden in the second one?
He was
No,
not.
no.
They recast him. Yep. And then they also couldn't get was it Lyndon Ashby as Johnny Cage, so they decided to kill Johnny Cage in the beginning of the movie because they couldn't get him in the movie, and it's like, what the hell?
Well, they also couldn't get Sonya Blade.
Yeah,
the original. Bridget Nielsen, right?
Yep. Well, did you know who was supposed to be Sonya before even Bridget Nielsen?
No.
It was supposed to be Cameron Diaz.
No.
Oh no.
I know, right? That's who was supposed to be.
She did a great job in Charlie's Angels, though.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Cameron Diaz, but then she was doing another movie. I forgot. I mean, if I looked, I can tell you the exact movie. But yeah, then they got Bridget to do it, and she did such a good job. And then obviously they had to recast. And then I would absolutely love that because again, like I said, I went to see Annihilate. Like my biggest Annihilation story is I went to see Annihilation, and then I used to be one of the kids that would just sneak out of the movie theater and go to the next theater over just to watch a bunch of movies. So I saw that movie one day, and then not Aliens 3, Alien Resurrection. I saw both of those movies in one day, and I was the most disappointed I think I've ever been leaving a movie theater.
I saw a bunch of hoopla about Bridget Wilson, who played Aliens back then. A couple months ago, because I don't know if she turned 50 or something, but like she's in her 50s now, and god dang, she still looks amazing.
Are you talking about? You might be looking at Carrie Hoskins.
I don't remember. It was a few months ago, but
it might be. Carrie Hoskins still dresses up as Sonya because she was the character who played it in number 3. She was the motion actress. She's a super nice person.
2.
No, Carrie Hoskins was in 3. Wait. She was an NBA Jam cheerleader, and she wasn't in any of the movies.
Oh, you're talking about the game, because I was like, there was a Mortal Kombat 3 movie?
No. Yeah. Game. Yeah. Carrie Hoskins does a lot of stuff on Twitter showing her still being that old and still looking fantastic. So that's what you might be looking at.
I thought it was Sonya Blade from the movie, but I might be getting
no.
I don't know.
No. She's actually she's literally the animation for the movie.
Yeah. She was also in Revolution X. She was Helga in Revolution X too.
And also at the same time, I would suck a fart after. Never mind. I'm sorry. I'm tired.
That's hilarious. Dude is saying you should talk about all 3 Mortal Kombat movies. I'm assuming he's meaning the one from like 2021 from a few years ago.
Yeah. That wasn't bad.
Yeah. You guys should definitely do a stream.
No, that shit was horrible.
Well, I don't know a ton about lore and stuff when it comes to Mortal Kombat, so I was more by recognition of characters and moves and things like that. So I definitely probably have more of a normie kind of viewing experience.
I don't know a whole lot about Mortal Kombat,
but
other than I just know the names of characters.
Yeah, I actually rewatched it recently with my wife because I remember watching it in 2020 or 2021 and being like, oh, that wasn't bad. And I remember laughing at Kano a bit, so I was like, oh, maybe she'll enjoy that humor. But then when I rewatched it with her, halfway through, I was kind of having that moment of like, you ever like show movies to somebody and you realize as you're watching, like, oh shit, this movie's not, crap, this movie's, not that good. And you're kind of like, I hope this person's not realizing it. Immediately, she's kind of just like, this movie kind of stinks. And I'm like, damn it, she's right. But I still found some enjoyment out of it though. From just the visual, seeing some of these characters and that in the fights and all that. But like, maybe don't, kill Goro in the first movie of a new franchise and things like that, but maybe not so much Cole Young, if whatever his name was, and maybe more characters I know.
That's what I will agree with. That is the worst decision to bring a character like that in and not have like anything. Like his power in the movie is to get beaten up.
Yeah, it's like, come on.
I actually disagree. Like
Think so?
you brought in Reptile
Mm-hmm.
and he was done in literally less than 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. I actually
How
forgot he was even
how
there.
the fuck do you kill Reptile in 2.5 minutes? Literally, the original movie is like Reptile. He is a chameleon.
Mhm.
It's so. Oh, all right. So
Yeah, I kind of forgot he was even in it, to be honest with you. That's how quickly he's
yeah,
in and out of it. So yeah, it's a
yeah.
good point. It's a
No,
really good point.
it's literally a reptile, and it's stupid. Sorry.
So yeah,
Neo.
you guys should totally do a Mortal Kombat stream. Just
Yeah,
talk about
I
Mortal
would.
Kombat.
I could listen to that for sure.
Even though I don't
think
know
it's
a whole
great
lot about the
idea.
franchise, I'd still watch that. So
Agreed.
And to answer your question, or what you mentioned earlier, Jason, James Remar was Raiden.
Yeah,
in
James. Yes,
Annihilation.
yes. Dexter's dad is as usually what I call him.
Like Dexter, the TV show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never saw that, so.
but yeah,
but
like there's so many. But Annihilation, yeah, there's so many bad things. Like they use the same cut for when like going into the pit, like reversed like 2 or 3 times. The Shiva just jumps on a thing, gets landed by a cage.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to talk about the bad stuff. I want to talk about the good movie. So yeah, the first one is just the best one to watch by far.
So, and then I was looking through Paul W.S. Anderson's movies, and I was shocked to realize I've seen almost all of his movies.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize I'd watched so many of his movies. So, but yeah, and then due to saying that JCVD was supposed to be Johnny Cage, but he had already signed on to do Street Fighter. So, all right. Well, with that, Ryan, if you want to take off, you're more than welcome to. If you want to stick around to the end, you can do that as well. So I will leave that up to you.
Well, thank you, everybody. Seriously, I apologize. I'm so tired.
No worries, man.
Thanks for coming
Go
on.
ahead.
The
Plug what you got going on, and then I'm pretty sure I've got the links to everyone's stream channels already in the stream. Yes, I do. So if you're not subbed to Ryan, I got the link to his channel already in the stream description. So go ahead and tell us what you got going on before you head on out.
I don't know. No, I get up at like literally 3:30 every morning for work. So and this was my Friday. So Neo, thank you so much. And the next time we'll do this again. So see you guys.
Great having you
Easy,
on
man.
on for top 5 for once. So you have a great night, and I will probably talk to you next week for
All
Party
right,
Chat.
shout out to you both. Seriously, let's do Mortal Kombat. Seriously. All right,
Do it.
I'm
Neo,
down.
thank you so much. See
All
you
right,
guys
later, Ryan.
It's easy, man.
So, all right. Well, I think I'll go next, and then we can let Jay finish off with his number 1.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to jump on it when he said it a few minutes ago, but I was like, I'm gonna wait so that Ryan can go because yeah, he was tired. But I have to kind of counter your point a few minutes ago because my number 1 is the only one on my list and honorable mentions that I've seen more than twice. I've probably seen it probably like 4 or 5 times. And that is not the original Tron. I wasn't a big fan of the original Tron. Tron Legacy. I love that movie. And that is my number 1.
That is awesome. I do too. I'm a huge fan of that movie. I know it for some reason doesn't get the credit I think that I give it, but yeah, that's a great pick.
I am hoping that Tron Ares, if it ever actually comes out, which is going to be the next one, is as good, if not better. I know Tron Legacy didn't do that great, like box office wise.
Yeah, I think it was similar to like Prince of Persia.
Movie.
I don't think it lost money, but I don't think it was enough of an investment that profit that they felt like it was worth the investment. At least at the time, I have heard rumors about I think I heard Jared Leto being attached to that movie a few
Yes.
years back, and it seems like it's in
As
limbo
far
at
as I
this
know,
point.
he's
But
still attached to
Mhm.
Ares. But yeah,
I'd love to
I
see it.
love
I'd love
that
to see them
movie.
make it.
I love the movie, and it was nice to see it get a modern makeover since it had been, I want to say what Tron was in 82.
Yeah,
So
something like that.
it was like a
Yeah, I think that's
30-year
right. I think
dormant
82.
franchise. Tron was 82, nailed it.
Hmm.
Tron Legacy was 2010, so it was almost 30.
18,
Was that
28.
28 years?
Yeah, 28.
Hmm.
Dormant for a long time, and it looked fantastic. My biggest complaint with Tron Legacy was just the early like CG animation of like actual people, the
Yeah,
like
the aging.
Clue,
Yeah.
the de-aging that they did for Jeff Bridges did not look great.
Hmm.
But I
Still with
thought
such a new
everything else in the
technology.
movie looked fantastic,
And it
and
holds up too.
it's not just rewatched it, but it's out of everything I mentioned. I think it's the one I've watched most. No, that's not true. I think Mario Bros was the one I've seen most recently.
Mhm.
But I just, like a year or so ago, I was like, you know what? I just feel like watching Tron Legacy again because I really like it, and I watched it
Mhm.
again, and it's a great one. I love that movie. So that is my number one, and yet again, a great looking woman in it who helped make it even better. Olivia Wilde was a nice addition.
Mhm. Jeff Bridges, always a pleasure to watch on screen. He's a great
He's a
actor.
great actor. Yeah.
I like him in pretty much anything. I believe it was maybe, I want to say the actor's name was Garrett Hetland or something like that, who had just been in that
Yes.
movie Four Brothers, which he was good in that as well. So he was kind of having a little run for his career there too.
Yeah, you got his
Yeah.
name right.
Oh,
And
I thought
he hasn't been in much, but the couple things I've seen him in, I've liked.
Yep, I've only seen him in those couple things. It was kind of in that little stretch of time, and he's kind of disappeared a bit since. But no, he was good in it. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that movie. It's got a special little nostalgia spot for me too, given the high school memories and all that with it. But even on its own, I really think it's a solid, fun watch.
Yeah, and the oh, that's right. I'm looking at his IMDb right now, and he was in Troy. He was Brad
No
Pitt's, like, the
kidding.
kid he was training.
Nephew.
That was him in
Yeah.
Troy.
No kidding. I never even put that together.
Patrick Lee,
Interesting.
or
Yeah,
Patroclus.
Patroclus or something like
Yeah.
that. I think.
I just rewatched that earlier this year because I was watching a
love
bunch of
that
Sword
movie
and
too.
Sandals movies. I like Troy. That's a fun
Yeah, I
movie.
love that movie. That opening scene with him and that one-on-one with the big warrior there is just, oh man. Such a
Yeah,
good movie.
that character, the character's name was Boagrius, and I don't remember
Mhm.
what I was looking at, but I came across him on IMDb yesterday. I think the actor's name is Nathan Scott, and I was like, God, that guy is a freaking giant.
Yeah, he was a big boy.
But yeah, I forgot that he was in Troy, and I just watched that this year. But yeah, the other thing I was going to say is I thought that the way that they did the games in Tron Legacy was way better than in the original. But I
Yeah.
mean, it was 82, so it was like mind blowing for the time. But by that, I never even saw the original Tron until probably like around the time Tron Legacy came out.
Mhm.
So it was already like super dated. So that's why
Right.
it's not like I watched it when I was a kid and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. It's like I was in college or maybe even out of college already by the time I saw the original Tron. So I was like, this isn't really for me. But then I saw Tron Legacy and I really liked it. And yeah, just the effects and everything were great. Yeah, the Daft Punk music just fit into the movie so
it's so good.
perfectly.
It's so good.
Yeah, I just really like that movie. And dude saying Tron Ares is gonna put a chicken and make it lame and gay.
It is Disney.
I hope not, but I would not be surprised. So and then Higher Cider saying, I don't know if this movie is based on a game or not, but he really likes Speed Racer movie. So I never saw that one.
Oh yes.
That was
Emil
Wachowski.
Hirsch, maybe. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, Emil Hirsch was in that one. Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
That was more like when they did the anime come to life kind of thing. When like they did the terrible Dragon Ball movie and all that stuff too.
Oh my god, was it Evolution? Oh my god.
Yes, it was. Thank you. Yes, that's what it was. Yep.
So funny.
What's worse, that Dragon Ball movie or the Avatar movie? Like Avatar.
For
like,
me, the Avatar movie, because I love Avatar so much. Oh God,
I've never
I think
seen
you
either of them.
could.
I
I
just
think
know
you
that they're
could
both
make the
terrible.
argument that it is Dragon Ball Evolution, though. That movie is just fundamentally terrible.
I have
Yeah.
actually seen the Avatar show, but I've
Mhm.
not seen the movie because I've heard that that movie was just terrible. That was M. Night Shyamalan, if I
It's
remember
so
correctly.
bad. The
And then there's
show,
that Dragon Ball
unfortunately,
movie.
gets a lot of stuff wrong too that I'm not a huge fan of.
Oh, the Netflix one, the recent one.
Yeah, but it does it by default is better than the movie. The movie's just so bad.
That doesn't say a whole lot from how bad I've heard the movie is.
I do wish
So.
they made other changes, but that's for a different conversation another day.
So sorry, Jason. I think you were about to say something. I cut you off.
No. I was just saying, like, yeah, I knew it had a subtitle for Dragon Ball, but I couldn't remember what it was because they didn't care about making the movie, so I don't care about giving the the recognition of the full title.
fair
So
enough. Oh, that one is so bad.
Dude says Dragon Ball was worse because it didn't do anything right. Avatar at least did a couple of things right.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
And we got Amon Ra coming in saying, "Moo, what's up, Amon Ra? Good to see you tonight, buddy. Moo to you too." So, all right. Well, that will lead us into our final with Nerd Takes giving us his number one.
Well, so my number one is one we talked about earlier in the stream. So we can kind of either just gush about
Free
it a
Guy.
little more or move on a little quickly. We can decide. But it is the Super Mario Brothers movie.
I had a feeling that.
Yeah,
I was surprised that didn't show up on anyone else's list.
Me too. I'm actually pretty surprised. I'm a huge Nintendo is. I grew up obviously in the 90s with the N64 obviously at that point, and it was just like the system to have. So Nintendo.
What was your first Mario game?
Mario 64. No, that's not true. My first one was actually the original Super Mario Bros. On the NES because my grandmother had an old one, her old console from my uncle at the time. Well, I still at this time, but at the time it was my uncle's old console.
That could make sense if it was like an uncle by marriage, and then
actually true. That is
true.
But it was his console at the time. He had grown out of it, so it was still hanging around the house while she was babysitting. So I did play the original Super Mario Bros., which was fun, but the one that has the impact for me is 64. The whole N64 console.
For me, it was Super Mario World because that was the first game.
Right.
It came with my Super Nintendo when I got it for Christmas.
Exactly. But I think that's what's a beautiful thing about Nintendo and Mario is that it's almost like it was everybody's first introduction to gaming to a degree, or at least part of their core introduction. Everybody has some Mario or some Nintendo that they love, and for me, it was the N64 and Super Mario 64.
Speaking of
and
Mario
then from there, it
64,
became
my
all
buddy
the other
Dude
ones.
just completed the retro achievements for it the other day.
Oh, there you go. But yeah, and for all the reasons, for that movie, just in general, obviously my nostalgic ties to it, but just as a video game adaptation, the animation's great, the voice acting's great, the story's solid. It's nothing complex, nothing crazy, but it's all you want out of a Super Mario movie, I love it. It's such a great callback to nostalgia. When you hear the Super Mario 64 Peach's Castle music as he's walking up to Peach's Castle, it was just like kind of a little bit of a goosebumps moment. Like, man, this really just brings you back to a good day, or the good days rather. So that was it for me. I just thought it was so well done. It was so respectful to the IP. It was
great.
just right. And the animation, I think it was the Illumination studio that does Despicable Me and all that as well. I mean, they're brilliant. The work they do is fantastic. Their animation style is beautiful. The Mushroom Kingdom, all these things, it all just looked so nice. It was so well done. The callbacks to the platform-based Mario games with the training course, to Super Smash Brothers, to Mario Kart, all that stuff being thrown in. It was such good fan service at a time when a lot of movies and studios and IPs try to use fan service as like almost like that key jangling of like, oh, look what we're going to put in to do that over substance of the movie. And in this case, it was fan service the right way. There was the right substance you wanted to the movie, the right respect you wanted to pay to the IP, but also a little bit of just the fun. Hey, I remember that from when I was a kid playing those games.
Yep.
Shoot, I was just going to say something about it, but I blanked on what I was going to say.
Yeah, it's getting late for me too, so I've been blanking over here myself.
Well, yeah, and you're 3 hours ahead of me, so it's only about 8:40 my time, so I don't have the tired excuse. Shoot, something about fan service. Yeah, all right, I don't remember, but Couple things that I want to call or Hyder hopped over on Twitch and saying you guys forget about the Mario movie back in the 90s. So
You didn't forget about that one.
Yeah, we
The-
touched upon it.
yeah. So if you weren't here at the beginning, the Mario Bros, the recent one from a year or so ago, whenever it was my number 5. So we did talk about that and the original 90s Mario Brothers for a few minutes towards the beginning of the stream. So we didn't forget. But he does make a great suggestion here. Normally, top 5, I like to keep it very positive and like good stuff, but this might be something we have to address it sometimes. You should do an episode about top 5 worst video game movies.
Oh, that'd be
that
fun
could be pretty
one.
fun.
That'd be a
I'm
fun
totally
one.
open to doing that one. We usually don't do the worst.
Spoiler.
We do the best, but
Yep.
I'm open to doing a worst video game movies. That could be fun.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Yeah, spoiler, mine has been already spoken of during this top 5. So
Annihilation's number 1, isn't it?
it is not number 1. No, it's up there though, but that is not the number 1. But my number 1 was touched on briefly.
Well, I don't remember what it was, so I'm not going to ask you.
Yeah, I don't remember either. So this could still be a surprise for the next
Yeah,
one.
now thinking about it still just made me sad again.
But I put that on the list because that would kind of be fun to touch on the worst video game movies. So
Yeah.
And then back to the topic of the Dragon Ball versus Avatar movies. Dude says that the actor who played Piccolo voiced a character in the revival for free because he wanted to make it up to the fans because of how bad Dragon Ball Evolution was.
Good for him.
Yeah, bless him for that. That's great.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that movie's
So,
rough.
Wait, that was the guy who played Spike in Buffy, wasn't it? I can't remember the dude's name.
I do think so. Yeah, I can't remember his name at the moment, but I do believe that's correct because I just had this conversation with somebody recently too.
Yeah, because I think he came up. I was on some interview and he said that because they were asking, "Is that true?" And he's like, "Yeah," because it was awful. Because I remember it was.
So the guy who played Piccolo is James Marsters. I know him because he played Brainiac in Smallville.
Yes, that's true too. Yep.
Oh, right. Oh,
but yeah, he was Spike in Angel. I've never seen Angel or Buffy, so I don't know anything about it. But I remember him as Brainiac in Smallville.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, you are correct. But Based, he's like, yeah, I'm sorry that movie sucks so bad, so I'm going to do this revival for free.
That is honestly pretty awesome.
Oh yeah,
good for him.
Oh snap! Emmy Rossum was in it.
Yeah, she plays. Is it?
Jamie
It's not
Chung?
Bulma. Is it Bulma she plays?
Yeah, she was.
I believe it was Bulma. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
There's
man,
some big names.
So bad.
Some big names attached to this movie.
There's some. Yeah. That's why it's so insane how bad it was.
Mm-hmm. It just wasn't even close to hitting the mark.
Nothing.
It was so not close to source, not close to you know how sometimes the page doesn't always translate, or even animation things don't always translate to screen. You got to make your creative choices to make it work. It wasn't close in doing that. It wasn't close in being source material. It was just terrible across the board.
On IMDb as a 2.5 out of 10.
Yeah, it's about right. That's about
right. That sounds about right.
Yeah, Mario Bros did a great. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Is that I was trying to remember a minute ago. Is because they're now also working on a Zelda movie, but we're all worried because it's a live action Zelda.
I don't know.
I wish they would
give
the Zelda movie the Mario treatment, and they do it CG just like the Mario. I think that fits way better than a live action.
Much better.
But they're keeping their tight reins on the Zelda movie, so I am cautiously optimistic. I think that they'll do it justice. I just think that the CG universe makes way more sense for a Zelda game than a live action.
I agree.
We'll see. But that's what I was going to say is in regards to Mario is the upcoming Zelda movie.
I just want Illuminations to do it because, again, I know Neil is probably the same as me. I want to see a Metroid movie so bad.
Yes! Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, if you keep it in the animated world,
Nintendo franchise, I want to see Mario.
You can have that, Yoshi, Kirby, all these different things can come together in the way that the Nintendo games always have in these party games. Whether it's to go live action, I don't doubt that they could do a good movie with it. It's just, it seems like such a missed opportunity to just expand this animated universe in a way that you could just have unbelievable amounts of movies and connectivity.
Yeah, like you just said, like don't do the Marvel, do the Marvel, but don't bring it all together and be like, then you got the Super Smash Brothers movie.
Right. It'd be so easy. It'd be so easy.
But if they do take the same approach, if they ever do a Metroid movie, which would be my number one pick because it's my favorite Nintendo franchise. If they do take from the Legend of Zelda and do it live action, I don't think they're a better person to play Samus than Sydney Sweeney. She'd be perfect.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining.
That's my fan casting for Samus.
I can see that one.
And dude says, I can defend the Ghost in the Shell movie and always question why that gets put in the same category as Dragon Ball or Death Note. I wouldn't even put Dragon Ball and Death Note in the same category. I'd put Death Note over, it was bad, but I'd still put it over Dragon Ball from what I hear about it.
Yeah, Dragon Ball was abysmal. Like one of the worst movies ever made. Even from the fundamental standpoints, the writing, the acting, the dialogue, like everything about it was just fundamentally poor.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, something we haven't mentioned tonight, pop culture candidate. Well, excuse me, princess. Classic. And dude says, yeah, if Metroid was rated R, it would probably be amazing. And it's a Nintendo, so it's not going to be.
Not, yeah.
But it very well could be, since it's heavily inspired by Alien.
Mm-hmm.
A live action Metroid suit would look really, really cool, though.
Yeah,
I have to say that would look pretty badass.
That would be pretty awesome.
So, all right. Well, I think we'll do our Jason to give us our scoring, and then we'll go into the last little segment that I wanted to do for this. So, go ahead and blow us away with what number one is. Gee, I wonder what it's going to be.
What could it be? I think this is one of the very few times that we had the same number one for multiple people through all of top five. So, but yeah, number 5 was Sonic. We had a tie for number 3, which honestly, if Jay would have remembered it, I think this movie could have been number 1. But number 3 was Free Guy and Mario.
Okay,
and then Tomb Raider was number 2. And then Mortal Kombat 95 was number 1. So yeah,
that's some good results. I can agree with those results.
Yeah,
I can. Good. Yeah, I look at the top 5, and the only one that I like, I'm not the biggest Tomb Raider fan, so like, but as what the movie did and how it was, Tomb Raider I think does deserve to be on the top 5. But yeah,
right, fair enough.
Cool stuff. So last thing we are gonna do here before we head on out is I just stumbled across a link on a wiki list of video game movies, and at the bottom it had a list of movies that are in development or have been announced. So whether any of these actually see the light of day, who knows? But the studios have said that they're working on them. So we're just going to go with that at the moment. And I was like, let's look at this list and talk about which ones we're most excited about. So I'll go ahead and go last. So if you guys have some that you are most excited about, I'm curious to hear what you guys are excited for from at least this list that I found on Wikipedia.
Yeah, I have like 4 or 5 like right off the bat that I can kind of just shout really quick. The first one that I saw is Comic Zone. I have no idea
that before the stream.
Exactly. Yeah, I saw this. That's what made me pop up the other game. But if they did a Comic Zone movie, I have no idea how they would do that. Because again, that's them busting panels. So it would be very interesting to see what they would do there. Another one, it's another Sega game, but I had no idea why they would make this a movie. But Eternal Champions, nobody even knows what nobody knows what that game is. It's a Sega-based fighting game.
Oh, it's a fighting game. Okay, I was gonna guess beat 'em up like Altered Beast.
No, it's a fighting game. Yeah, which again, nobody knows what that franchise is. And that franchise has been pretty much dead forever. I would love to see them make something up again. Another one was Sifu. I think that would be pretty sick to see. I think that would be pretty awesome with the fights and everything like that. And another Paul
I
W.
Anderson. Bought that not that long ago, but I haven't played it yet. But I've heard good things about it, and I'm
really good
to playing it.
It's really good.
And if I think I don't have the link up. I should pull it up. But did it say anything about that movie on like who might be working on it, like director or anything?
That's it's a TBA on that one.
Okay, because I think that if there were 2 people that I would pick to be like, I don't know about director, but definitely like choreographer would be either the person who did the Raid movies could be perfect for that, or Chad Stahelski, who did most, if not all, the John Wick movies. I think
Oh,
either
yeah,
one of
yeah.
those could be perfect.
Oh yeah. No, I like that one. Yeah, a lot. And then the last one that I saw does have a director, and it's our boy Paul W. Anderson. He wants to test his luck with the House of the Dead. So
I saw that one.
that is, I'm like, all right. So we have Uwe Boll doing House of the Dead the first time. Now we have Paul W. Anderson doing House of the Dead the second time. Well, let's see what happens. So yeah, those were the big ones that there's more on there, obviously, but those were the ones that jumped out at me right away. So
And okay, none of those were on my list. So
good.
Oh, I didn't realize this. I know this name. I don't know the face, and I couldn't name anything else. But I know that I've probably seen some of the other. Oh, never mind. I'm getting names mixed up. I've got Raid pulled up, and the director is Gareth Evans. I was thinking it was Gareth Edwards at first. I was like, wait, that's Edwards, not Evans. So I don't know if I've seen anything from Gareth Evans other than the Raid. But I know I've probably seen some Gareth Edwards movies before. So, but yeah. So, all right. Oh, and yeah, Sire Hyder said a couple things here. The one movie, it's so bad I forgot until now, but it was Doom.
Yep, with The
I
Rock.
saw bits and pieces of Doom, but I haven't seen it in its entirety. But I know that one is notoriously bad as well. But I heard that the second Doom movie, which only came out a few years ago, was far worse.
There was a second Doom movie?
Yeah, I'm not even
another Doom
familiar
movie
with
that
it.
came out a couple years ago. I forget what it's called, but I've heard it was even worse. Let me
I didn't even know that.
If Doom Annihilation 2019.
Yeah, that's not even ringing a bell.
Again,
oh.
This is me, and I'm sure there's no Hollywood producers, directors, anything like that. Stop putting Resurrection and Annihilation in your movie titles. It doesn't work. It is death. It is literally
like the death. Yeah.
Oh, but he makes a good point. But now there's two new Doom games. So good. Yes, Doom 2016, Doom Eternal are phenomenal games. Hoping if it comes to movie, it would be great like it is right now. Agreed. And the House of the Dead for me, but story not great. And yeah, female Doom. And then dude was saying that we need a cheesy 80s action movie based on Streets of Rage. That could be really fun.
There's actually a Streets of Rage on here.
Oh, really?
Entitled Streets of Rage is Lionsgate owns Lionsgate is the one who has it underneath them right now.
Lionsgate's working on a Streets of Rage movie. Well, there you go, dude. Well, maybe that could be the answer to your prayers. So we shall see.
And then one that I didn't say because it's actually coming out, and I did not know that, but there is a Street Fighter movie coming out in 2026. March 20th, 2026 is what it says.
Another Street Fighter. Okay.
I had no idea about that one either, so that's going to be kind of interesting too.
So, all right, Jay, what about you? What are some of your, based on that list, what are some of your anticipated video game movies?
So some of the easy ones are just sequels to anything I mentioned, on the discussion today. So things like Sonic 3, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, all those sequels, Detective Pikachu 2, all that stuff I'll be interested in.
Angry Birds movie.
That one has slipped by me. It might continue to.
I did like that for the first one.
I didn't see the first one. I just saw there's a third one that's possibly coming out. So.
I thought there was only one. I didn't
even know there was a second.
Yeah, exactly. But ones that stuck out to me that I didn't really know were in production was Ghost of Tsushima. I think
that's
that
on
would
my
be really
list.
cool. And it seems like that's Chad Stahelski.
Stahelski,
right?
yeah, the guy I mentioned who was the
right. So like
John
that
Wick.
could be really cool. Legend of Zelda is obviously one that stuck out to me as well.
Yep, that's
and
one of mine as
one
well.
that stuck out to me because I've been waiting for it for well over a decade is the one that I was promised at the in one of the menus of the Splinter Cell Chaos Theory.
I knew that's
game.
what you were about to say. I knew it.
I was promised a trailer for that movie that was going to be coming out in I think they said 2005. I can't remember when the game came out. Maybe it's 2008 or something, but they're 2005 or 2008, whatever year, we're going to be giving you this movie. And we've never heard a peep from that front since. And seeing it on this list, immediately I was like, I'm still waiting. I've been waiting for over a decade, guys. Let me get this.
I didn't put it on my list because I don't think it's ever going to happen, but that
Me neither,
absolutely would
honestly.
be one that I would want because I could swear that there was a tease for a Splinter Cell movie at the end of the first game. It might have been Chaos Theory and I'm getting it mixed up, but either way, those were both games on the original Xbox.
Yep.
So there's been a Splinter Cell movie in the works for like 15 years at least. So I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Quite literally.
They should have done it back then and had Michael Ironside, who's the voice of Sam Fisher, be Sam Fisher. It would be perfect, but he's too old now.
Right. It will be tough to create Sam Fisher without that voice because it is iconic. His voice is so distinct. But hey, give it a try. I'll take it. I've been waiting 15 years, however long, for this movie. I'll never forget filtering through the menus and finding that little, video where they tease it to you.
It was a teaser. It's just the goggles.
Yep,
lighting
exactly.
Up,
yep, I remember
exactly
it vividly to this day. I remember it vividly because it's my favorite, one of my favorite game franchises. I love Splinter Cell games. Always have. Love stealth games. And the second I saw this on that list, I'm like, man, it's been a long wait. It's been a long wait. So hopefully it finally gets done. If not, I can't say I'd be disappointed because that ship already sailed. I've been disappointed on it. So at this point, it's all icing on the cake if we finally actually get one.
Yep. I just didn't put it on my list because I have no expectation that'll ever come out. But
I'm
if
with
there
you.
was hope for it, I would definitely put it on the list because I love Splinter Cell. But dude is saying that he heard that the Angry Bird movies were good. So I like the first one.
Kidding.
I don't remember a lot about it, but I do remember enjoying it. And then Higher Cider or Cider Higher saying that I heard that there's two game-based movies coming out, one on Warhammer and one on Gears of War, which I don't think I knew about. Obviously, I know that those franchises exist in video games that are big. I just didn't know. I don't think I've heard anything about a movie on them. But I don't know anything about Warhammer, but I would definitely be interested in it. But I do know Gears of War, and if they did it right, I would love to watch that.
Same.
So last I heard on Warhammer was that Henry Cavill was working on a show for Amazon. But
I've heard about that. The show, but not a movie.
I think they're like running up against the clock on like if they don't really start getting pen to paper and getting something down soon, they might like kind of pull the plug on it. So I'm not sure where it stands now, but that's the last I'd heard on Warhammer.
It's the last I heard as well. And he's also saying that Splinter Cell won't make a movie because Ubisoft won't do it. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Ubisoft doesn't typically make decisions that are good for their company.
Yeah. So, and Nick, Backyard TARDIS is here. Good to see you, Nick. Haven't seen you in a while. And he's saying that his top 5, number 1 is Sonic, and then number 2 is Sonic 2. 3 is Scott Pilgrim, 4 is Super Mario Brothers, and 5 is Detective Pikachu. Just missing the list as the original.
That's a great list.
Good list.
Great list.
Good one.
Good list. So, all right. As for myself, my most anticipated, based on that list that we found, obviously there's Zelda. We were talking about that earlier. Ghost of Tsushima. I still have to go and beat the game, but the 15 or so hours I put into the game, I've absolutely loved, and I'm looking forward to getting back to it. It's just I'm focusing on retro achievements and Xbox right now, but I'm going to be getting back to all of my Steam games at some point. And I absolutely am going to be platinuming that. But Ghost of Tsushima movie would be awesome. And another one that I did not know existed until I was looking at this list is also because, Splinter Cell is Tom Clancy. There's a bunch of branches under the Tom Clancy banner. And the other one that I saw on this list, I was like, that would be awesome, is Ghost Recon. And it has a director attached, and it's Michael freaking Bay.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. And I'm looking right at it. Yeah, it is Michael Bay, huh?
It's like, say what you will about Michael Bay. I like Michael Bay. He's a lot of fun.
He's done some great work. He's done
even recently, because most people give him crap for like the Transformers movies, but he did 13 Hours, and that was great. And you would never know that was a Michael Bay movie.
No, absolutely.
But taking what he did in 13 Hours and adapting it to a Ghost Recon movie could be fantastic. Make it serious, not super over the top, like ridiculous. It can be great.
I'm surprised Michael Bay just wouldn't be like, because I know he's attached to, to Ghost Recon. He wouldn't be like, all right, Ubisoft, you're not doing anything. And then just go over into other Microsoft, just be like, hey, can I have Call of Duty, and just make a Call of Duty movie? Because, I mean, everybody says Call of Duty stories, the Michael Bay of video games. Like, why not have him do something like that? And then that would be perfect for what he would want to do, kind of thing.
I get what you're saying when you say Michael Bay of video games. There's a game franchise that I'm a huge fan of that I say is even more Michael Bay the video game, and that is actually on this list as well. Unfortunately, for some weird reason, it's not directed by Michael Bay, and I don't understand why, because this game series was meant for Michael Bay to adapt it into a movie. But that is the Just Cause games. There's a Just Cause movie.
Oh, yeah, I saw that too, yeah.
And I'm very much looking forward to this because there's not a lot of story in Just Cause games. It's just running around blowing stuff up and having fun. So the story doesn't have to be all that great as long as it's fun. There's a lot of explosions. One of those, turn your brain off and enjoy movies. I'm okay with that. But this movie was meant to have Michael Bay attached, and I don't remember the director's name, but the director that's attached to it was the director from Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Not great. Not great.
Yeah, that movie tanked. Angel Manuel Soto, I think, was
his
name.
That's it.
Yep, that's
it. It's like, why is this not Michael Bay? But like I said, it doesn't really have to have a lot to it, and I think it'll still be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that when that materializes. And then, before I go to my last one here, due to say Michael Bay's Battleship is a guilty pleasure of mine. It even has a great video game tied to it. Yes, that's the one.
Okay, thought so.
Yeah, with Rihanna and I think there was a couple other big names.
Yeah, they're slipping my mind. I'm only remembering her at the moment, but there definitely was a few
Neeson
other names
in it. I want to say Liam Neeson was in it, but I did see it and it was terrible, but I had fun with it. Let me see here. Brooklyn Decker was in it. She was smoking. She was a model. Rihanna. I was right. Liam Neeson was in it. He was Admiral Shane.
No kidding.
Nailed it. Taylor Kitsch was in it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Alexander Skarsgård, one of the many Skarsgård brothers, and his IMDb profile picture is him in a suit and no pants.
All right.
Interesting. Interesting picture to have as your IMDb profile. But I get it. That was a goofy, fun movie. But my last one here is probably my favorite of the games listed in this list of movie games that are being adapted to movies. And I didn't know this was in the works until I saw this list. Apparently, they're working on a Portal movie.
I just saw that too. That would be interesting.
Portal. The Portal games are my favorite. I love puzzle games, and Portal games are my favorite puzzle games. And if they do it right with the proper, sass from GLaDOS, and I'm assuming Wheatley will probably play a role in it, and hopefully they have the same voice actors.
Oh, they better.
They better. I think this could be great. It has great potential to be great, or it has great potential to screw it up royally, as a lot of video game movies do. But if they do it right, I think it could be fantastic.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And Sire Hider saying, "Oh yeah, I remember the movie called Uncharted. Yes, that was a game. I've heard that the movie was terrible compared to the game. I've never played the game, but I enjoyed the movie. But I'm not going to say it was good because I don't know anything about the Uncharted franchise since I haven't played it since I've never owned a PlayStation. And then we talked about this earlier. Man, I remember the first time seeing the Sonic trailer. So scary with the ugly Sonic. Phantom asked them to edit Sonic back to look more like the game. Yeah, we touched on that earlier because Sonic was my number 4. We were talking about ugly Sonic. So it's sad that Halo isn't a budget tentacle blockbuster, and I say that as someone who doesn't play the games. Yeah, the Halo show doesn't exist because that's an abomination.
Oh man, yeah, that's
he meant tentpole, not tentacles. Halo isn't a big budget tentpole blockbuster. It could have, and it should have been, and they went and butchered it with that terrible show. So, and then Portal's great, but you know what is greater? Half-Life. I love Half-Life, but I like Portal even more than I like Half-Life. So, not that either.
It all just depends. Yeah, it all just depends what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, Jay, you were about to say
no, excuse me. I didn't realize there was another chat there. That was my fault.
No worries.
No, I was just going to say, it seems like Hollywood's really got their eyes set on the video game adaptations right now. It seems like they're moving away from superheroes and into that. So,
yep, superheroes right into video game movies. Yep. That looks like that's
going to be the new trend. And, I think we're going to have an opportunity to see what they invest in it in terms of quality, writing, directors, money, the whole deal. And we'll get to see a lot of stuff come to the screen. It's just going to depend on how good it is, and can they really kind of step up the game of video game movies and that.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're starting to see it. The things like Five Nights at Freddy's, Super Mario Brothers, even some of the TV shows. I enjoyed the Fallout show. I know some people have lore issues with it, and in Fallout New Vegas, but I've never been. I don't know anything about the Fallout games, so just viewing it as a show for me, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a quality show.
It's a good thing
The
Ryan
Twisted
already
Metal
left
show.
because Fallout is one of his favorite
Yeah.
franchises.
Okay. Fair enough. And I know people who are big into it aren't like super thrilled with some of the lore changes, which I totally respect and understand. But I can only judge it off of what I know, which is nothing about it. And just as a show, it was a quality show. They at least cared about making a good viewing, show and product. The Twisted Metal show was actually a pretty fun watch too, even. So
I heard that it was pretty
yeah,
fun.
I think we're starting to see an increase in a rise in the quality that they're giving us. So maybe that's a sign of good things to come.
Yeah. And Nick brings up a great one that hadn't even been mentioned yet tonight is Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh,
Great one.
Yeah.
No one even mentioned that tonight. So
that
thanks for bringing that up.
was a good call.
Yeah, that was one that I was waiting to hear. But as soon as we got closer to number one, I knew it wasn't going to be. I didn't think it was going to be anybody in number one because that seems like a good 4 through 5 one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was actually kind of surprised too that didn't get didn't get mentioned
Until just now. So good shout out to Wreck-It Ralph. That's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I'm not surprised that Pixels wasn't.
I was
just
just thinking of Pixels right the second I thought of Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh shoot, I forgot about. I should have put that in my honorable mentions because I did like Pixels.
Okay.
But yeah, I did mention Tetris. I wouldn't even call it a mockumentary because it wasn't a documentary. It was like an actual movie, and it was really good. I did mention that in my honorable mentions.
It's definitely a dramatization of it. With they did cool things too graphically on the screen with some video game effect feat kind of things on the screen. It was a fun movie. They did well with that one.
So, and then he's mentioning we've talked about it a bunch, was Free Guy and Ready Player One, kind of those like video game world movies, kind of could pave the way for the future of video game movies. Yeah, definitely. And then dude is saying if only Valve could count to 3. Yep, exactly. Because we got Half-Life 1 and 2, Portal 1 and 2, Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, Team Fortress 1 and 2. They've never given us a third game to a franchise, which sucks because all those franchises are great. So but all right, well, I think that'll wrap it up for episode 20 of Top 5. That was a lot of fun. Glad that you got, Ryan, you already took off, but glad you could join us. And Nerd Takes, always good to have you back for another chat.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I always appreciate you guys having me, guys. This was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for working with the schedule and everything last week. I'm glad I could make this one. I had a blast.
So why don't you go ahead and tell us what you got going on?
For me, nothing crazy, kind of the normal stuff. I just released a review on the Penguin series, which is out now.
Good stuff.
It's really, really good. I highly recommend it. It's a spoiler-free review. So anybody can check it out. It doesn't, won't ruin any of the show for you, but I do always recommend trying to watch a show before you check out reviews, just to make sure your mind is totally clear. You don't get any kind of preconceived thoughts from somebody else going into it. I always try to stay blind before watching a show because I don't want to be looking out for complaints other people might have had with it or things like that. So I do always recommend, if you can, try to go in blind and watch it and then swing by and watch the review and see if you agree with anything I said about it. But outside of that, just normal stuff, figuring out some more videos to do in terms of reviews and topics to cover and some more live streaming and some gaming. Been playing some Arkham City lately.
I saw that.
Yep. My favorite, as you know. So I've been playing some of that and just trying to find some more windows to do some more streaming. So I'll schedule a little bit random. You kind of just pop up where I pop up, but it should be more frequently now.
Nice. So great having you on as always.
Thank you.
Always fun to chat with. And back here, Tardis say need to watch Free Guy. Do it. It's fun. It's a very entertaining, fun movie. For you, is the most important stream of your life. For me, it was a Tuesday.
Yeah.
We did talk about Street Fighter, but we talked more about the animated one, which I didn't know even existed. So, I don't even know what that's about. So, all right, Jason, you got anything going on that you want to plug?
No, I'm busy. You'll find me top 5s right now, and then possibly a Mortal Kombat podcast that might be in the works of some sort. So, but no, as of right now, I'm extremely busy with a bunch of stuff. Not online, so you'll find me top 5s. gonna have a break soon. That's actually gonna be kind of nice for me because of how busy I have been. So I get to refuel for the next year to see what's gonna happen more with top five. Because I hope you guys are having fun with the show. I know Neo and myself enjoy hosting this every week, so I'm glad you guys are still sticking around watching, and I'm glad Jay, you're excited to be on the show because again, the show is all about you guys watching and the guests. If it was just me and Neo talking about our top five, it'd be pretty lame. I'm not gonna lie. So.
And with that, I'll shout out our next. We have 2 more top fives for the year because I'm basically taking all of December off. I'll be doing a couple of little things, but I'm basically taking a break for December. So not a whole lot going on in December. But we've got another top 5 2 weeks from tonight on the 26th. We're ranking our top 5 favorite video game party members. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then normally we alternate, but because we bumped this one down a week, we're going to have 2 weeks back to back. And the last one for the year, and this turned out to be absolutely perfect because we were talking backstage after a recent episode of Top Fives, and Jason's like, the anniversary of the original PlayStation is in December, so I want to do a top 5 PS1 game. So I looked it up, and lo and behold, the exact anniversary of the PS1 is December 3rd, which is a Tuesday, which fell on a day we were already going to do a top 5. So that settled it. We're doing top 5 favorite PS1 games on December 3rd, and that'll be the last top 5 for the year.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So that could not have landed any more perfectly. It was meant to be. So as for me, I still got a lot of streams going on until that point. Tomorrow night, I'll be back with Dude. I've been mentioned over on Rumble. He's been coaching me through Dark Souls, which I've been calling Dude Souls. So we've been doing that on Wednesday nights.
Those are the best. I love the Dude Souls streams. Those are the best.
So I'll be back with more Dude Souls tomorrow night. Last week was a pretty good stream. Much better than the week before that. That one can suck it. But yeah, if you want to see me rage, come watch Dude Souls. And then Thursday night will be the next episode of Open Mic with who we saw in chat earlier, Pop Culture Mechanic. Looking forward to chatting with him. And then oddly enough, I have a weekend where I'm available. So I will be doing a couple of streams this weekend. On Saturday evening, I'll be on my on Carl's channel, who's my co-host of Party Chat. We're doing a discussion about all things Halo in what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say remembrance because that makes
you can say
like
it
it's dead, but
yeah,
it kind of is, but I don't want to say it like it's dead. But honoring all things Halo, since November is the anniversary of Halo. So we're going to be talking all things Halo over on Carl's channel on Saturday. And then on Sunday, the company boy, Dude, and myself and the company boys, which is Paul Hadouken and Insidious Bliss, will finally be continuing our playthrough of the Halo games. And we're going to be finally making it through. Hopefully we can do it all in one stream. I don't know if we're going to be able to, but we're going to at least make our attempt to try to get through it. And we'll be playing Halo Reach, since we've taken a long break because I'm typically not able to stream on weekends anymore. So that kind of threw off our weekend streaming schedule. And then next Monday is the next episode of is the next occurrence, I should say, of Mass Effect Monday. So next Monday, the 18th, we'll be playing Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, and it's open to anyone who wants to join. I think I need to get a head count, but I think I've got a lot of people who said, yeah, I want to be in part of that one. So we may have to split it up between PC version and Xbox version, because I spend 99.9% of my time playing the Xbox version, but I have it on Steam for people who want to play it on Steam as well. And I've been doing some deep diving into the mods, and there's some great mods that add a bunch of new maps and a new enemy faction. So if you do want to play Mass Effect 3 multiplayer on either of those, let me know. I'm always down. It's my favorite game of all time. I played it not nonstop, but I've been playing it basically since it came out in 2012. I think the longest break I've taken from playing it is like 6 months because I love the multiplayer. So I'm always down to play it. I do Mass Effect Monday once a month to just get people together to play Mass Effect multiplayer. But if you ever want to play it, let me know and I'm happy to jump in. And I definitely want to play some more of these new maps, not new maps. They're new to me, I should say, and the new faction. But and in addition to that, I finally figured out the role administer bot in Discord. So I set up a channel specifically for Mass Effect. So if you go into my Discord and you go to roll assignment, you can click on the N7 emoji and it'll add you to the Mass Effect channel. So you could either meet up with other people to try to find a group to play Mass Effect with. And whenever I play it, whether it's on stream or off stream, I'm going to ping that channel and say, hey, anyone, I'm going to play Mass Effect 3 for a little bit. So you're welcome to join if you want to. So if you want to know when I'm going to play Mass Effect 3, I'm going to ping that channel and then you can hop in and join me if you want. So,
Nice.
and then next a week from now will be the next episode of Party Chat. And then next Wednesday, instead of Dude Souls, I'll be back on Carl's channel, and we're basically doing the same thing as we're doing as that Halo stream, but instead of Halo, we're talking all things Mass Effect, because it's also November is the anniversary of Mass Effect, which is my number one favorite franchise of all time, and I know it for Carl, it's either his number 1 or 2. So we're going to be talking all things Mass Effect on his channel next Wednesday. So that will do it for tonight. Nerd Takes, again, thanks for coming on. Always a blast hanging out
thank
with
you for having me,
chatting
guys.
with you. And one last thing from Dude on Rumble says the animated Street Fighter has greater assets than the live action one. Assets. From what I hear, I would agree. So, but yes, Nerd Takes Jay, always great chatting with you. Thanks for coming on and ranking your favorite video game movies. Jason, thank you for being such an awesome co-host. And that'll be it for this episode. We will catch you all later, everyone. Have a great night, and we'll see you later. And as always, in the meantime, game on.